welcome to the Sigma Show, episode 106. It's me, your host, Sigma. Just before I let you know who's joining me this week, real fast, we're going to go over what we are playing and watching and doing this week. I know that sounds like I made a mistake. I didn't. That's one of our topics because there actually isn't a ton of news. Like, we're right around the corner from Summer Game Fest, as well as a bunch of other conferences, like the Xbox conference next week, or this coming week. So that's going to be the bulk of the discussion, like what we've been playing, what we've been watching, and then speculation on like those conferences that are coming right up. And that's pretty much it. But here, joining me to talk about these things today, Ash Redux. Ash is back, guys. Welcome back, Ash. And joining us as well, the We'll See Blogs. I wish I was iCarly. Do you know the numbers she gets, fam? Are you kidding me? The money's not manufactured. She's a household name, that iCarly. Oh, hold on. Don't say anything else, because they're telling me that chat is that you guys are muted. That is insane. Hold on. Let me see if I can fix that. This is an OBS problem. I don't know why.
You're going to edit this bitch like, oh, okay, I got to start from here.
Wow. Since they can't hear me, it's the perfect time for me to do my customary snackage during KC stream.
What is that, yeah. Goldfish?
No. These are the end of the Doritos.
Oh, that's insane. Okay. This is a new issue.
Yeah, I have two kids, Will. I have two of them.
And now we can't hear KC. Lovely.
I muted my mic with my my chest. I hit the little capacitor thing when I got close to it. All right, so I use wireless headphones, right? They connect via a USB-C dongle. This dongle can switch between regular Bluetooth stuff and then Microsoft's special Bluetooth stuff, so there's a little switch on it. The switch was on the Xbox thing while connected to the PC. And for some reason, that doesn't bring your audio through the dealie.
All right, we'll restart the whole thing. Who are you? What are we doing here?
Joining me today, Ash Redux.
What's up, everybody? Glad to be back.
Also joining me, the We'll See Blogs.
You ruined my iCarly joke, and I hate you now. What's up, everyone?
You're right. I just randomly started talking about iCarly as far as they know.
So stupid.
But welcome, everyone. Welcome, Frost, Nick the OG, Tyriel, King's Dead, Menyo, Rachel. Welcome, everybody. Much love to all you folks. But you did hear me say what we'd be talking about, so all of that is square. We don't need to go over any of that. So why not just jump right into it? What have we been playing? What have we been doing? Any of you guys been getting your game on and want to share with the group?
Don't say getting your game on. I don't like that.
Why not?
It feels because we're not Yu-Gi-Oh! GX characters, okay? So we
is that a live
game on? It was its whole theme song.
I've never seen Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. I stopped after
probably a good thing.
core Yu-Gi-Oh!
And that also makes me feel really old. Makes me feel dated. Like, that's not what kids say nowadays, Casey. You're making me feel like the old angry gamer who gets mad at anything that's
maybe
different from my childhood.
Maybe that's okay. Like, we'll probably get into this when I do my what you've been gaming on stuff.
Why are you always close to us? Okay. You can always do it first.
I could do it first. You're right. But I mean, I don't want to be like, oh, I do the whole introduction and then immediately start talking again.
No. You go
tell
first
us.
Today.
I'm tired of you.
All right. So on that note, of being an old man, etc. I watched Across the Spider-Verse with the kid yesterday, right? And one fantastic movie, like really, really good plot, beautiful animation as expected, dope characters, really compelling art, like music. Great, at least what they use in the film is great. I went to listen to soundtrack afterwards and was like a little underwhelmed after the first two tracks. But the overall theme, and I will not spoil anything, But the overall message that I was getting from this movie was like this sort of, hey, it's really hard to be a parent. And I don't know if that's something that's baked in to the story, like, hey, we want to focus on like the whole parent or mentor angle here, or if it's just me as a parent who's like currently going through that, something that I'm just very sensitive to.
Right.
But like throughout the entire movie, like they were just like I was just feeling that emotion the whole time. And like it does a really good job of sort of navigating that conversation of like, all right, you have a kid who is getting older and they're becoming more and more their own person. And like the structure and the guidance that you provide to them, which is based on how much love you have for them, doesn't like it's not enough. Like that alone is not the guidepost that's going to get your kid to where you want them to be. At some point, and this is a line straight from the movie, they have to spread their wings. And
You're
like,
saying that like that's not a common saying.
no, it is common saying, but like they literally say that in the movie, like, and it like there's a little running joke about it, whatever. But it's like that it doesn't matter how much you read about parenting, how much parenting stuff you watch. Once you're an actual parent, you're gonna need to be reminded of this, that like your kids are their own people, they're gonna grow up, and you need to give them that space. And like watching that struggle like really resonated with me because they hit it from a couple of angles. It's like, okay, these are actual parents dealing with it. This is like a mentor situation dealing with it. This is like a friend group dealing with it. Like people growing up, people becoming their own person and coming into their own or whatever. And like, it's just really, really well done. So like it hit a real soft spot for me. And like, cause like Lord and Miller, the writers, directors, like they're two white guys. Like let's be honest.
Oh, whoa,
two white guys,
we
right?
dropped the W word.
two white guys, but like this is a movie that consists of several black, Latino, East Asian characters and whatnot, but all of those vibes still resonate. And I think that's the beauty of when movie studios actually go that extra mile and say like, hey, let's put diversity in our movie, because it is the same human struggle, right? But because you see faces reflected back at you, like it does feel like it's your struggle. And like that's super important. Cause like this sort of stuff could go right over the top of my head if I just wasn't looking at characters that sort of resonated with me in that way. Like I dressed my kid up as Miles Morales like years ago when the first movie came out. So like him sitting there watching Miles go through this, it's like that's him going through that. Like Miles's dad is in his eyes me, and like I'm seeing myself in Miles's dad as they're talking to each other. You know what I mean? So like that really means something. So like I'm no longer the star of these movies that we're watching, right? Like I'm not the kid in the situation. I'm the adult. I'm the dad. Like I think it's time that our generation starts to accept the fact that like, hey, we're the adults now. And like we have to basically push and do everything for the kids. Like the next ones up need our guidance, and we're not the stars of this show anymore. Like that's what I feel is like kind of the driving underlying plot in that movie. And I loved it. Again, like I can't wait till the next one comes out.
Ash, did you see it?
Ash, did you?
Ash said, I will never respond to you.
No,
Let me-
you just
let me-
asked if you
hold on.
saw it as well.
Oh no, I haven't seen it yet. We're actually going to be going to see it on the 13th specifically, because we're going to a sensory friendly version. They only do those like once a month in theaters.
Okay, cool.
No offense to them, I get it. Like they still want to make as much money as possible, but once a month really makes it really hard to like find the time to go see the movies or what. I was like, I wish they did at least did it like once a week or whatever, but so we're going to see it then, especially because my son loved Into the Spider-Verse. When it comes to superhero stuff, like when it comes to fictional characters, Link is first. He doesn't care. Anything Zelda related, he can barely speak, but he'll say Link, Zelda. He'll write the Zelda logo, sword through the Z and all, when he can't write most other things. Like that's his stuff. He loves Zelda. So
that's your doing. I'm
feel
assuming.
that
You've
I
poisoned
did
him.
nothing. I did nothing. That boy watched me play. First of all, this kid plays games. Again, he can't read instructions.
Okay.
I've seen him beat Super Mario Odyssey. That like obviously I give kudos to Nintendo for game design for that part. You know what I mean? Like intuitive game design, obviously, but he can't read instructions. But he realizes, oh, I get more moves, I go next place, and he just keeps exploring until he gets all the moves he needs. I was like, I don't know how he did that, but he loves games. So Link is first, but he loved Into the Spider-Verse. He watched that so many times. He still will watch it whenever. And I remember when the trailer dropped for the new one, and I was like, oh, I got to show him. And when I showed to him the excitement on his face, because I could tell he's looking, he's like, this isn't what I've already seen 1 million times.
Yeah.
I want to see this one. So I was excited to take him to that. So I haven't seen it yet, but I hate that you said that because I'm like, oh, this is going to make me shed a tear. I'm just listening to you talking like, am I going to shed a tear in there?
I cried.
Absolutely. I left that part out, but like the whole movie, I was teary-eyed. Like there's no stopping it.
Dang it. I don't want to be in a theater teary-eyed. I'd rather do it at home. God.
You'll be fine. Show emotion. That's okay.
Be a man. It's okay. But no, I agree with that. It's like there's other things I've been watching. I can't think of them at the moment. I've had a similar thought process to other things I've watched before. Like, oh yeah, this is a pass the torch moment. Not, obviously not like, oh, I'm gonna not watch these movies anymore. They're not for me. They're still great, like you were saying.
Right. Yeah.
But you could definitely start to like, I'm not in the actual demographic for this anymore. There's still things you can resonate with, but you start to say like, I'm not this demographic anymore.
Yeah, it's like you can feel that shift in the plot of this movie, and it's like we like that. There's that. What is it? 25 to 35. What is that age range? I might be off a little bit, but like.
No, I don't. Yeah,
that's the
about
sweet
it.
spot, right, for marketing. It's like, hey, we need to hit these folks because they have the most disposable income and like they're the most free with their time. Blah blah blah. I mean, I can speak for myself personally because I know both of you guys are a little younger. Like, I've shifted just out of that range. Like, I'm over 35 years old, so like it's crazy
Casey,
to see.
Black don't crack, and you kill
it. Don't.
I just want to tell you, because I never keep that in mind, and in my head, you're just like, oh yeah. I don't put unassociated.
Look how handsome and put together this man is.
Somebody get this. Oh my God, what we could do if we were not in front of the camera. I'm just like,
I'm sorry. Let's chill. Let's calm down, Will. Let's calm down. We'll talk after.
Okay, we'll sidebar.
I don't know how to react to any of that.
Good.
but what I'll say is like, yeah, like it's almost instantaneous. You shift out of that demographic, and it's like, oh yeah, this sounds dumb in terms of like the music that is playing on the radio. It's like, oh, this movie is definitely aimed at these kids or whatever. But like stuff that's super well written is like, yes, it's aimed at these kids, but there's stuff for you in it too. And that's what I'm picking up on in Across the Spider-Verse.
I think you've had a very different experience or interpretation to what I had when watching the movie.
Okay.
I don't think it's full blown wrong. I think it's seen through a different lens, and based off the context that you just gave, totally makes sense. It kind of makes me like teary-eyed when you think about it because of the fact that like it's never easy to age out of anything. I feel like that's been weird. Like I can't go to a mall anymore. I'm just not that guy. If I go, I'm getting like a suit or some shit. Like I'm not, or maybe sneakers. Like I'm not doing anything in a demo that's there. Yeah, like I'm not in the food court. So like it's very interesting to see that. I think I agree in what you're saying, where it's definitely there's a highlight of that because in the first film they did not focus on that at all. In fact, it was just setting up everything for Miles, and Miles was the primary focus as to where it's this one Across the Spider-Verse, right? That's the title for this one. Across the Spider-Verse for me felt like we're expanding it obviously towards different walks of life. Exploring the fact that like there's just a lot of shit that happens behind closed doors that we don't really tend to acknowledge, and then the additional thing, and this is my perspective, 29-year-old, no kids, but I was looking at it and I was just more like, it felt like a lot of the narrative was pushed to like as you're a kid, and I identified with it because I've been through it. Everyone tries to tell you what to do, who you have to become. You have to get this degree. You have to do this, that, and the third. And it's like, dog, I'm really gonna have to do my own thing and make it work. And I'm gonna love you and support you as like I love and support my parents. I'm there. You gotta love and support me as I go through on my journey. And that's something even as I got older, even when I'm in high school switching to college, because my parents wanted me to be a doctor. I'm like, I'm nowhere near a doctor. I don't have the brain for that. I'm all into tech and nerd stuff. But the thing is that kind of having that conversation, and it breaks further outside of just like the family narrative that's there. But it's very, very interesting to see how I can see where that comes from your point of view, Casey. And I don't disagree with it at all, but it makes me very sad because now makes me realize I'm getting old and I don't like that either. Yeah, meanwhile, I felt like a kid watching the movie. So,
well, and I think that's what's so cool about it is like, yeah, like it is because of like your age and your life experience that same movie hits you in two completely different ways. Because like it wasn't that long ago, was it 3-4 years ago? Into the Spider-Verse came out,
something like that. Yeah,
like I did not identify with Miles' dad in that way watching that movie, but just that amount of time has changed that. And like, and maybe it's also, you know, the actual focus of the actual plot, but like it was always my son who was the main character in in those movies, right?
Of course, yeah.
It was always for the kids. So just realizing that is like kind of eye opening.
Yeah.
We're just old then. I hate it. I hate it here. I still stand by what I said though. Wrote it on Twitter, popping it now. Best Spider-Man film that's been dropped since. I don't care what anyone says. Into the Spider-Verse, I mean the first one was my best one. And I think for me at least, narratively and kind of how they've been twist tying it into like he's growing up, you're witnessing him growing up. His struggles are no longer the same thing of feeling like I feel like the first major motif was like anybody could wear the mask. This could be you. It was inspiring. And this one only just elevated and made it feel like, yeah, I'm doing it, but I'm doing this my way. And you're either going to get with it or you're going to get lost. And I'm like, fuck, that hits so hard it doesn't miss. But also, like, I know that's just a hot take. Some people was like, Spider-Man 2 is still the best. I'm like, yeah, okay.
I definitely would say, like, I agree 100% that Into the Spider-Verse was the best Spider-Man movie, and now that Across the Spider-Verse has released, I can't fully say, like, oh, Across the Spider-Verse is better than Into the Spider-Verse, but I do think they're right at the same level. Like, they matched the quality of that first movie, which was so high, but they matched it entirely. So, like, both
even
of them
though
together
one
for
made
me
you
is
cry.
like, huh? The
One
first
made
one
me cry.
One made you cry.
Absolutely, yes. What?
This one made me cry 3 times. So that's a good thing. Also, I think
I feel like that should bump it up.
I'm in agree. Well, it's more so at the fact that like the way that they do the fucking like the artistic direction. Like in the first one, it was very cel shaded. They still keep to that. They still keep that sort of vibe that they've included. But there's just scenes that I won't touch on. But like you'll see, like Gwen Stacy is not under the same color in one shot as she is with the other. But also the mood has shifted so hard. And it matches it so perfectly. And I'm like, dog, this is crazy. And then seeing Miles grow up, and it's a very slight change. It's not like he fucking had the major growth spurt, but rather seeing it and hearing it. And just seeing like how it all worked in how they have certain like either pieces of dialogue where something in the background changes or they still keep the silly thing. Like, I don't know if you remember in the first one where they throw somebody got hit with a bagel and it just says bagel, like
yeah.
Like things like that. They kept that and only added more little tidbits. And visually, I was just all over the place. I was like, damn, this shouldn't work, but it does. And it works so
They
perfect.
pull a real Amazing World of Gumball. If you've ever seen that show, how it's like 30 different art styles mashed together, but it's all very cohesive. They pull that off flawlessly. Because like it's like the whole unifying thread of that plot of it being a multiverse, but then like they really take that to heart. They're like, oh, this is what it means to be a multiverse.
Right.
Like it's like different animation styles, different mediums. Like they fully embrace that in such a cool way. And you mentioned the dialogue too. Like shout out to Shameik Moore. Like I've been a real
100%.
big fan of that actor for like a long time. But like his voice work for Miles is impeccable. Like when he, and again, don't want to spoil anything, but he gives a speech like close to the end of the movie, and he's kind of rambling in it. Like he's like you can see him forming the thoughts as he's saying them to the person he's talking to, and like the stuff that comes out of his mouth felt so real. Like I'm like, did Shamik Moore like improv this? Because like this feel like two white men did not write that. You know what I mean? Like that's just how that's just the vibe I got. Like no, like that, like the way he delivered that, what he's saying, like the tone of his voice, like that's a very authentic delivery, and I'm 100% sure that that's like fully Shamik Moore on display. Like he
also said that was
good.
his favorite line in the Spider-Verse movies that he's done so far.
Oh really? Like, I can see why.
100%. But I also have some slight disrespect for Shamik Moore, and I'll tell you why.
No, yeah, he does have some. He said some dumb stuff on the internet, I believe, right?
Wait, what did he say? Wait, hold on.
I can't remember fully, but he has said some dumb stuff that he got in trouble for. But it's like it's Twitter. Twitter has a short memory. It's not that big a deal.
Okay, well, mine was more sillier. Mine was that the fact that they did some press thing with IGN, and IGN asked, "Hey, when you play Mario Kart, what character do you play?" He's like, "I don't know. The main one, I guess." That would make sense.
But man, don't
and
play
then
Mario
Haley
Kart.
Steinfeld is there and just like, "You mean Mario?" So silly. I'm like, all right, this man don't play games.
This man don't play Mario Kart. It's fine.
He looked thoroughly shook when he said, "Hey, you like we have Miles and Spider-Gwen in Fortnite," and he's like, "What's Fortnite?" Like his face said it without saying it, and I was like, "All right, I get it. I'm not mad, but also
this man is living a different life than we are right now."
Clearly, that's way.
It's too funny. It's hilarious. But yeah, no, I hope you enjoy Ash that film when it came out. You can't rewatch it in the same experience. So the first time was good enough for me. I'm like, God damn, I can't wait for the next one. I gotta wait a whole year.
I can't wait for the next one. Like Marty warned me that like it is a part one to a story, so like it does end in a cliffhanger. But like, God,
really, if you read the comics, if you read the comics, I'm like, I'm reading this like a fucking book.
Well, I don't. It's not 1-to-1 with the comic story though, right?
It's not.
Yeah, they play around with your known knowledge of the comics and stuff, with kind of how they're weaving this Miles' story through all of that, and I think that's actually really cool.
Oh yeah. I think it's just because it feels like they just said, hey, copy my homework but make it different. And that's exactly from the ending gasping point, because everybody was like in the theater. I'm like, I fucking knew this from a fucking mile away. But also,
they definitely telegraphed it, yeah.
But also keep in mind too, there's two things I want to mention. That this film definitely, like, I knew that they were breaking into multiple pieces prior because I did research after watching it first.
Mm-hmm.
This one felt like they wanted to end it at so many different places towards the latter end of the third act. It was very much in the sense like, this could wrap here and we can go on. And they still kept pushing it. And I was like, you know what? I'm not mad given how the end result was, but also, holy fuck. I was waiting in the theater. Maybe it's because I just had gulped like the soda and I'm like, I'm ready to go. I gotta go. Come on, I know. They said we're gonna be out here at this time and it's taking too long. So
like I knew this was gonna be a longie. So like I made sure to like use the bathroom beforehand, and like I sat through the whole thing perfectly fine. Like I do feel like Disney has done this sort of thing before, except it's not a Disney production, it's a Sony production. Like the very beginning of that movie is kind of a prelude to all the events, right?
Yeah.
They could have kind of cut that out and just had that be on a streaming service. Like, hey, check this out. It's like a prequel to the story of blah, blah, blah. And like it wouldn't have, like you could have had the rest of that movie to like shorten the length of it and then like just allude to those events. Or, you know, for people who watched it, like, hey, make sure you go watch this thing. It explains what that situation is. And I think that would have been fine. Though I get it. Like, you don't want to keep cutting the story of the media into like a million pieces. But like the length was pretty long. I was surprised my son was able to sit through all of it because he can get a little a little rowdy, whatever. But like, he held his head. I just had to stop him from like shifting his chair back and forth because he was like doing a little automatic thing. It was like making mad noise. I'm like, chill.
Why is my seat so squeaky? I hated it.
But yeah, great movie. Overall, great movie.
Oh, my last point that I had before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
The soundtrack in the first one's immensely better. They have bigger names in the second one. And it's good. It's good.
Bigger names, worse rappers though. Like,
listen. I'm not gonna lie. They had Jaden Smith in the other one. It wasn't great. The Corleray still in the second one. It's not great. Offset's a great. He can give a good performance. The problem is he can't say certain words, and it just don't hit the same.
Offset is terrible. Let's just be real. Like the man is not a good.
He's not
rapper.
a rapper.
He's
These
not.
people use rhyming dictionaries. However,
they put him on a song with
look.
JID, for example, and because like JID does what he can, it's not enough because Offset kind of tanks the entire track. Like,
I don't think it's that bad. Jesus Christ,
it's bad. It's bad. There are some good tracks on it though. Like the first 2 tracks in particular are really good, and like the movie actually ends with them. And like I sat through the whole credits because like God, this is a good ass song. Like, anytime you put violins in like rock or rap, like I am sold. And like there's the second track.
He's a Linkin Park stan. Don't listen to him.
Linkin Park did not invent violins and rock. Though.
I know, but you add both of them together, and you do some little.
I mean, they did say they like the rock. They like the rock and rap. That's a quote from one of the songs. I like the rock and rap. It's what I do.
That Casey grew up on the basketball is my favorite sport. So
wow, that's
I didn't think 35.
I'm that old now.
I mean, you said the number. I'm just embracing. I'm giving you factual things that were around when you were a child. Tell me I'm wrong.
That's not entirely true.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Not entirely.
It's not entirely true. No, late 80s, baby. Late 80s.
So you avoided the crack epidemic. That's cool. Must be nice.
Let me
saying as if I was there.
Anyway. But yeah, okay. So in terms of movies, that's what I've been watching. I can jump into Street Fighter 6, which review just went up. Been playing a lot of it. God, that is a fantastic traditional 2D fighting game. The main thing is that it's very accommodating to someone who wants to play Street Fighter and hasn't been, right? Yeah, like if you're a lapsed fan, if you've never touched it before at all, there are options in there that are specifically tailor-made for you. And I think that they're really good because there have been other 2D fighter games. Like I played what's the name of that one?
You played that.
Not
Super
Fatal
Smash
Fury.
Bros.
King of Fighters, like 13, not too long ago. Reviewed that like a couple months back, and it attempted to do some things for new players in terms of its tutorials and like training modes.
Right.
It's not enough because like you can get in there, but like you have to already have the drive and the want to stay in there because like all it is training. It's like you get this game and you say, all right, well, I want to train so that I can then go and fight real people online. And like, that's going to be an eye-opening experience because the folks who are hardcore are gonna wash you. Like, that's just what's going to happen. Like Street Fighter 6 is giving you options to do that training and then take that training into single player modes that are fun and entertaining and can hold your attention for an extended period of time, which reinforce that stuff that you've been training on and, you know, get you to naturally engage with the game systems. And because it's so popular and because there are so many new people who are going to stick, once you do decide, hey, let me go fight some other people, you'll probably get matched with people of your level. So like there's a much more natural curve to you playing the game, enjoying the game, learning the game than like some of these other fighters that are a lot more niche. And like they're lucky to be in that position because like it's such a household name. But like they did the groundwork to make sure that brand new people would want to stay there as opposed to just leaving it to the hardcore. And it's so fun. Like it's visually fun, mechanically fun. Like they knocked it out of the park in my opinion. Have either of you guys gotten a chance to try it? I know Will, you said you were interested on Twitter.
Yeah, here's the thing with me. Like I use my sister's boyfriend as a prime example. That man will pull out an arcade stick and 9 out of 10 games and wash you.
Mm-hmm.
Only needs 3 times to learn the moves with a character, and that's it. He can do it. He doesn't feel like spam. He just reads well. I view the Street Fighter franchise like that because there hasn't been a Street Fighter game with online capability where I felt confident to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like in theory, this all sounds great. It's gonna be probably like the way you're describing it, like Fighter Z was for me. It was like dog for fighters, whatever you pronounce it. Like I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna love what I can in terms of solo. I'm gonna start feeling like I'm the shit because I unlocked all these characters, and then I go online and get humbled so fast.
Yeah.
And that's where I just don't know if I want. Like I know that's where my enjoyment ends. I'm probably gonna end up copping it. I won't lie to you. I I just picture whenever there's someone who is just waxing, like not even giving me a chance, pull out the fucking arcade and go off. And that's where I'm just like, yo, I appreciate you, but I can't do that.
Like,
I'm well aware I would never do that.
It's still early days in
Right.
that there's probably like the most people who are gonna be playing Street Fighter 6 are probably playing around now that it's at its launch.
Right.
But I'm super confident that it has what it needs to make a lot of those people stick around. Like a lot of those newer people will be having enough fun that they make it like a regular returning occurrence for them. Like I was deciding before, like after the beta, I was like, hey, I want to get into Street Fighter because of what they have in here. So like I'm gonna stick around.
Right. Yeah.
So I hope
Street
a lot of
Fighter,
other
if you
people
can do it.
are feeling that way too.
If you can keep up with consistency, because that was with me. I think a lot of fighting games are like that, because that was when I was ranked like top 100. I don't know how I got there, but I was just playing all day, every day. And then part of that, I'm not gonna lie, is because I gave the controller to, when I was taking 3 L's back to back, gave the controller to the brother-in-law and kept it pushing. So that's what helped me got up there. Hey, listen, hey dog, I got there. I'm not there anymore, but that was when I was
You
heavily
can't even say
into it.
that. You didn't get there. Your brother-in-law
I did.
did.
He boosted me
He,
higher.
he just had some assistance. It's like a little handicap.
I used my options.
Wow.
Don't disrespect.
That's
me,
all he
dog.
did.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nah, because this guy was reading me like a fucking book, and I can't. When I'm switching up and constantly thinking it, and I get to the point where I'm just like, I want to throw this controller. Maybe I should stop. So, but I really want to try Street Fighter. Have you touched it, Ash, or not?
I don't do fighting games.
Like at
I mean,
all.
and let me tell you something.
Violence
This
ain't
is
the answer.
Let me tell you how my fighting game experience works. I see game, I'm like, ooh, game looks fun. Game looks cool. Let me get game. I get game. I play game for a little bit. Realize I'm not going to put in nearly enough time to get good enough at game.
Okay.
So after I do whatever, if it even has a story mode or whatever,
Mhm.
there's no point in me playing it past that. So then it's like, did I just pay $60 for a game where the main point is to play online with other people and I'm not going to do that?
Fair.
Let me stop doing that. Which is why, as much as I wanted Dragon Ball Fighters, because I was like, man, look at the art style.
Mhm.
That game looks fun. People are telling me it's actually good. Blah, blah, blah. It's not just an arena fighter. It's an actual fighting game, all this good stuff, right? And I'm like, okay. I look at trailers. Oh, that looks amazing. And I had to tell myself, don't you dare spend money on that because you're going to waste your money. I've been waiting for, I missed the last time I had a sale. My friend told me late, but he was like, it was like $10. I was like, now $10 I can pay
right.
for a fighting game if I'm only doing that. So I was like, that's what I do now. I buy games when they're like that. The only reason I got Smash was because Smash Ultimate last one, potentially all that good stuff. I was like, I got to do it. That was for the culture, so I bought it.
Can we talk about how you went from full-blown caveman mode to full-blown sentences, and I was so proud of you the whole time. Because you're like, I see game, I like game, I get game, and I'm like, all right now.
Wow.
No, it's just because that's something I would do, and someone would be like, why are you speaking?
You're like, why are you talking like that? What are you doing?
I'm like, hey, education system didn't treat me well. What you want, dog?
I will say the only fighting game that I ever showed any ounce of like talent in, like early, was the Dead or Alive series. And that was purely because I used to play an online game called Rumble. The way I was good at that game was because I was good at predicting when to like do properly timed counters. So
okay, that's cool.
I was able to use
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I can do this. Counter.
Right.
Counter. Counter.
Like, Ash,
counter.
everything you're saying sounds like Street Fighter 6 might actually appeal to you, though.
Don't do that.
No, listen.
No, wait,
Let me make the case.
No.
Let me make the case. Because one, you're saying like, okay, and this makes a lot of sense. If the bulk of the gameplay experience is online competition and you're not going to spend time with that because like you're not going to dedicate the time to get good at it, that makes perfect sense. There's a 25-hour JRPG in the story mode for this game. So like the time you spend playing through that JRPG, if it's interesting to you, would be honing your skills. So like that would be a way you spend time and actually get better at the back and forth fighting, right? On top of that, there's a control scheme that makes the learning curve, I don't want to say like cut in half, but you
You
keep
muted
hitting this
yourself.
mic.
9,000 IQ.
You definitely get kind of a step up, right? Because the modern control scheme changes a lot of those classic special inputs into smash-like inputs, where you press one button and you press a direction, and on cue you get a special move. So as long as you kind of know when to use them, you can have them like that, as opposed to like having to be like, all right, well, I gotta hold back or hold down, and then press up with the thing, or I gotta do 2 dragon punch inputs or whatever. Like, it simplifies that so that all you're focusing on is the fight and the mechanics, because they're like right at your fingertips. That also has an auto combo mode. So like, if learning long combo strings is a hassle, you can hold the trigger, press 1 of 3 face buttons 3 times, and you get a different auto combo to kind of help you out. Like, you still have access to those moves separately, so you can string together your own combos in that style. Okay. But these are shortcuts to kind of get you up to a certain level before maybe you're even ready. But the thing is, like, because of those advantages with the modern control scheme, there are people who are probably going to get good enough to go against classic fighters with it right now. Yeah. So like, you may not need to eventually go back to classic. It might be something you choose to do, but you might just be a modern control user and then like get yourself to like a decently fun having level playing online against people. Like, I really see that. Like, they put in the effort to try and capture exactly the people that you are, Ash. like fighting games aren't for me because of these reasons. They're like, well, what if it was for you? Like, what if we did the things that you want?
Casey, you just basically said initially noob friendly and then expand details and gave us every bit that was there, and I support you for it, dog.
I gotta give them props, because they did what I have wanted a lot of other 2D fighting games to do for a very long time. Like, I love the look of 2D fighters, but like, they are so time consuming to actually get decent enough to play them consistently. And Street Fighter 6 is like, we hear you. And they did it. Like,
I feel like OGs are gonna hate that shit.
That's a very niche
audience within itself. Who cares?
You can ignore all of it. You do not have to touch the World Tour mode at all. You can jump straight into the fighting grounds, go to ranked matches, and just fight your way to the top. If that's the only reason you're there, you don't have to touch any of that other nonsense. Like, they did nothing to alienate those folks.
Listen, the only reason why I was ready to pull the trigger on Street Fighter is because like Game Bullet or some random website was like, hey, like I was firing Wario, where I was like, it's $20 off, and I was like, okay, all right. I didn't pull the trigger on it, but I was just like, interesting. I wanted to know more. I know Street Fighter is great, but it's just it's not. I don't know when I'm gonna get it. I don't know when I gotta pull the trigger.
Yeah, I'm not saying buy it right away, but I do think, like, if you're at all curious, I think there is stuff in there that you would like based on like what you're saying.
I just have FOMO, and I don't want to like experience the game when everyone else is just like hella good at it at this point. I'm like, nah. See, look, now I'm just playing this JRPG, and be like, all right, I retire. Thanks, it's cool.
I think.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think, especially since you said, not like you had to get it right now, it would definitely be something I look into, because my gaming time is already preoccupied right now. There's no other game I'm buying.
What have you been playing?
So. Yeah, let's go into it.
Good transition. Nice transition. Shit, hire me, baby.
Oh, is that what I think it is? Is that Tears of the Kingdom? Yeah, it's Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
This is all I'm gonna be playing for a while. There. I just
got a nice fun fact for everybody. Never played a Zelda game.
All right, let me leave. I'm just gonna.
I think I tried to play Minish Cap at one point.
Minish Cap, that's probably not the best one to start with.
That's the one that you tried?
I said I think. I don't fucking remember. It was some 3DS bullshit. I don't remember.
3DS. Nah, that wouldn't be.
I don't remember. I know that like
Traps.
Someone recommended me to try it, and they recommended with, I want to say, Majora's Mask. Again, is that the one where the moon's angry at you?
These aren't the Zelda games you want to.
Everyone is just explaining. I know. But my thing is that, like, from what I've seen, and then I was like, do I really want to sit down and play that? Like, I don't. It's on the to-do list. I don't know when it's gonna happen. Maybe I'll love it. But okay. Well, how far are you in Breath of the Wild?
I can't do this.
Old heads getting mad that I'm not playing.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Breath of the Wild 2 is what will always be in my mind. All right, I'm not gonna fucking learn Tears of the Kingdom or whatever it's called.
How far am I? I don't know how to quantify that. I literally just keep doing other things when I'm supposed to be doing something else. So I don't know how to quantify how far I am.
Well,
If
how
we go
many hours
main,
have you put in then?
Yeah,
Like
let's
how
use
much
that as a
time have you
measurement.
sacrificed to the shrines?
How many times have that OLED needed to recharge because you were wasting your time being a green guy?
He's not. Is he green in this one? He's not green. He's been blue since the last one.
He's blue.
I've
He's
played
blue.
zero
Dabu dee dabu
games of
da.
it, so maybe I'm colorblind. Yo no sé.
How do you see the hours that you put in? I want to check it
I
real
think
quick
it's
while I
on
have it
your
up.
profile or something. Like when you look at your.
Sounds right.
So we've established he likes Zelda. Okay, good. I have Casey. Have you played this Tears of the Kingdom?
I've been trying to put in as much time as I can, but other things have to take
It
precedence.
says I played for 50 hours or more. That's what it
God
says.
damn.
That's not that bad.
That's what it says.
That's
or
not that
more.
bad. The whole game is like
No, Doug. I've let my brother-in-law borrow the Switch when I had it because he didn't have a Switch at the time, and I did. The Switch bundle came with Breath of the Wild, right? So he had it for like a couple months. Came back and it said 500 hours, and I'm like, doing what? Like I don't quite understand.
Fam. Tyrell in the chat says 180 hours for me. Nick the OG says 130 hours. So like, yeah, Ash, you gotta catch up, I guess.
Now listen,
baby hours.
Here's the thing. That's me trying to find time to play this game.
Fair.
Which when people say like, "Hey, have you been playing Tears of the Kingdom?" I was like, "No, because I don't have time to play Tears of the Kingdom." But I find time. When I tell you, and thankfully this is your stream, not my stream, so my manager won't see it. I play it at work. I literally bring my Switch to work so I can find time to play this game, and I have 50 hours. That's me struggling to find time. I'm forcing those 50 hours or more in to get.
He's getting it in on those poop breaks, those 15 minutes. Gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm even not in during my, because I get an hour lunch, so I'm playing it during that time, right? But even like, so when it's slower, there's not as many managers in the building that day or whatever. Because excuse me, in my IT office, all the managers for the different IT departments are there. They all have their little offices, so they're all easily and readily available. They did it on purpose, so if we need something, we can go straight to them, and they're all pretty nice, right? But they don't want to see me playing this game. Let's be honest. The clock. My manager probably wouldn't care as long as he knew I was doing what I was supposed to, but the other ones will care.
Fair.
So literally, I'm over in the corner where they thankfully moved my desk. Horrible decision. So they moved me to the corner, literally further away from everybody else. I have perfect vision to see when someone's about to come out their office. This is me playing it. I take the Joy-Cons off. My hands are underneath my desk. The Switch is open and standing up right underneath my monitor, so it looks like I'm looking at my monitor at first glance.
Right.
And I'm just going. I'm going to town as much as I can. I just leave it there, pause, I put it face down for when I need to walk away, just in case someone comes by like, what the fuck is that at your desk, Jamal? Nothing. I'm sorry, I forget if I'm supposed to say that. But yeah, so no, that is 50 hours of forcing me to have time, because usually when I'm at home, I don't have time to play. I don't have time to play at home. So,
Doug, there were some times where I was doing the previous job when I was back in New York, I was teaching kids how to use like STEM with gaming, and that was my excuse, because I was like, yeah, no, you guys could play Smash Bros or Just Dance, just don't hit each other. Meanwhile, I'm in the background on a laptop, like trying to do a review for The Escapist. Like, no, there's nothing to see here. Everything's fine. No. So I understand that, and I applaud you, dude, because it's hard as hell.
And just make sure you say how to use STEM for gaming, like
yes,
the science
technology.
Tech. Tears of the Kingdom Breath of the Wild is the perfect game for STEM.
Hey, dog, I was
esque building blocks in there. Yeah.
Any game the kids wanted to play outside of like rated M games, because they were in the middle school thing, like age group. So what am I supposed to do? I know they want to play it, but I can't bring it. Like anything, I'm like, I can explain STEM with Uno. Absolutely. I've done it with Smash Bros. I've done it with fucking like all these other silly games. I'm like, they don't know half of the time, so it's very easy to kind of finesse it into that. But I do know the struggle of trying to get those hours in. So yeah, I applaud you. 50 is nothing to everyone else. You're king to us.
I want to say I have at max 10.
That's more than me.
because
You're living life like Larry.
Struggle. Like me waiting for my son to get out of Taekwondo is the most time I have, and sometimes I got to spend that 1 hour typing up a review, so like I can't actually be playing anything.
So I've been playing that literally most of my free time. I mean, obviously not with my wife, not with my children, right?
Sure.
Because if I'm giving them my time, I can't be playing that at the same time. Otherwise, I'm not actually present. So I'm like my free time is basically that. But because obviously me and the wife watch shows and everything, we've been what did we start watching recently?
No, that show, that person.
That show with that person who did the thing, you know.
Yeah. That guy.
with that guy. But no, we're watching this tonight because I got recommended work. So I know it's technically the same thing, but in case you guys have watched it and want to give me your opinion, I've been told that I need to watch a movie called The Menu, and they told me it was like a thriller esque movie, thriller horror, quote unquote, around the horror part. It's more so a thriller.
I don't know if I would. I mean, I guess it's in the vein of a thriller, like definitely more thriller than horror.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like surrealist, like almost like a dark comedy, a little bit.
I did hear when I looked it up, and the genre that Google gave me was horror comedy, and I was like, okay,
sure. It's kind of a weird one. There's a strange, and the thing is, like, I was interested in the premise and everything, and then the way everything played out at the end, like it felt very weird. Like that's the main thing I want to say. Like it's a weird movie. Emotions are probably gonna be mixed from most people who watch it, I think.
It is a polarizing film. It depends on the alley, because I know in theory everything like on paper sounds great. I've seen enough of the trailer where I'm like, I know this isn't gonna like rustle my jimmies. I'm just not gonna want anything to do with it.
Fair. I put it on my.
Hopefully you got it. You'll like it.
Put it on my Plex server. So don't worry. I purchased it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Added it to my Plex server.
Yeah, of course.
So you know, no harm, no foul. Otherwise, I went back because also to my pleasure, I've been rewatching Static Shock for old time's sakes.
Nice. Yeah.
Remember, it started all because I'm going through YouTube Shorts and they'll show like, who cares about spoilers? Old, but
old
you know, shows a moment with the girl who had the ice power. She was homeless, and that scene with her goes over with Richie's dad and him being racist. And I've just seen different YouTube Shorts and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang, this show's good. Or the one with the gotta be careful online when you go for this one. The kid who was bullied and wanted to act on it in school. That episode, you know. So it's like I remember like, man, this show really did hit on some like tough and deep topics a lot of the times where like they really wanted to like touch on kids in that age group who actually go through these type of things, or even stuff where like with the homeless one, like, you know, you just walk by, a lot of people you ignore, but some of these people are really going, like they didn't choose to get there for some of them, you know what I mean? Some people actually just got in a situation or just made one bad decision that just jacked everything up, you know, whatever the case may be. So it's like you gotta actually like care about other people and all this stuff. So it's like, you know, this show is great. I love the show.
Yeah, classic DC animation house, like just putting in hella work. Like
right,
a lot of the shows is fantastic.
Sidebar: some of y'all didn't watch Static Shock as a kid growing up, and it shows.
Or some of them watched it, just loved what's his name? Well, Terrence, the fire one. I always forget. Whatever his name is. Yeah, the bully from the first episode that was picking up saying fire, hair, fire, power.
Oh, I remember that kid. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they just watched him and just loved him the whole time. Like, yeah, he's so cool. It's like, you are missing what's happening right now. You are missing what's going on. The only other thing that I've been watching consistently, and this was because of my kids technically, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I love this show. I don't care if people judge me. I love Bluey. I think Bluey's amazing.
Yo, I keep hearing such good things
Casey.
about Bluey. Like I've seen the characters. I've never
It's-
watched any of it.
Just watch it. Just stop what you're
Let
doing.
me,
and
let, me,
watch
let me tell you. Let me come to you as a parent right now, especially since when you watch Bluey,
Mhm.
it definitely has something for everybody, right? Because the kids are watching it because the main characters, Bluey and Bingo, you're watching them in their interactions. They're using their imagination. They're making up games. They're having a great time, or they're learning life lessons sometimes too. Some that you wouldn't even think would like go in the show, but they delve into them in like a very gentle way, but still actually like getting to the point. They're not trying to work around it per se. It's
Mhm.
just gentle with the approach. But the parents, right? They don't hide like the struggles that might happen. So like my favorite episode, which the animation and artistry of it was actually like pretty crazy. When I saw, I was like, "Whoa, Bluey must be making bank now because this animation is smooth. Like this is real clean right now."
120 frames per
but it
second,
was,
Bluey.
yeah, it was. I'm not joking. It was very clean, but it was like a sleep episode, and she didn't want to sleep by herself in her bed. Right?
I
She
know
wanted to
that
sleep
one.
with her parents. And yeah, dude. So the part where it's like she's dreaming and and you see her in her dream and she's doing all this stuff, but in real life she's just kicking her dad in the stomach. and you see the dad like, and I'm like, yes, show my pain. Like you actually see the parents dealing with them being children, and like, but at the same time, no, the parents are like you'll see them out where they're like, yeah, sure, like the quick eye roll, like, oh, okay, here we go, they're doing the kid thing again. But at the same time, that they always go out of their way to like spend time and play with their kids, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful family dynamic, but they actually touch on topics. So it's like, man, look at this. I need to do better. I'll watch it. I'll be like, God, I need to do better. I don't give my kids enough attention. Hold on, let me just whatever I'm doing, like, stop.
That's sad. Like I always feel guilty of that in particular. It's like, am I not spending enough time? Am I like working too much or whatever? That's gonna make me feel real guilty. I know it.
But it makes you feel guilty in a good way. You're watching, you're like, I want to do that with my kids. Like I legit get ideas. My kids came here and they want to. My daughter came. She said, "Daddy, I want to play Keepy Uppy." I was like, I don't know what that is. What are you talking about? And then literally later on, because she couldn't explain it to me, right? But I remember later on she was watching the episode, and it's basically just them playing with a balloon and keeping it. I was like, oh, duh, that's what you meant. But the fact that she just came to me, she's like, I understand how this works. I literally saw it happen because she's 3 and trying to explain rules to games for her. She doesn't get easily. But when she's just watched the whole episode and they're playing like that, or the floor is lava or whatever, something like that, she's like, oh, I want to play. She'll just come to me excited, and I'll be like, now whenever she comes to me with a game, now I'm like, I know we didn't teach her. I'm like, okay, this is her moment. She's reaching out. Let me just stop whatever this is. Boom, let's play this for at least a good 30 minutes. I got you. Let's keep it going. But yeah, no, Bluey's great. It's great. I don't know.
I gotta put that in the queue.
I don't know if at your son's age right now, if he would like it as much. Well, but still use a parent.
He's a little immature. Like he'll definitely watch like stuff. But to be fair, I also would like watch stuff like on Nick Jr. when I was above that age. Like Blue's Clues I was too old for Blue's Clues. It was a great show. I watched a lot of it at that age. So like I have no problem with something like Bluey that I know or that I'm hearing is like quality content. Like I think that's fine for an older kid to like actually.
Yeah, it's definitely quality. Definitely quality. I keep trying to make sure there's anything else I've seen recently before I end mine. I would say
we have about like 15 minutes left.
Oh, I got
can
you.
extend
Okay,
my stay. Don't worry about it.
go. Will go.
You're good. You said.
I can extend it. Yeah.
All right, nice.
I was initially thought there was other things, but life happens. Anyway,
Yeah, go right ahead, Ash.
Oh well, then I think the last movie that I watched recently, actually, I can just pull it up on my Plex server of all my
that he totally
purchased movies
through. He purchased it through Vudu and it's streaming through Plex.
Yeah,
Come on,
I watched him do it.
Yeah, 100%. You were there when he turned on the VPN and then purchased it on Vudu.
Yeah. Because you got to keep my credit card information. I don't want them to track me all this stuff. Yeah, all this stuff.
Of course, naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you know that my VPN is multi-hop? So that means I can connect to Canada from Algeria, so it's even harder to detect my stuff.
Wow.
It does
This
that.
you just told us. Now we're going to be checking for your Algerian account when we see you purchase it from Canada.
That's okay.
Like,
that's a lot to dig through. I'm just saying.
All right, T. Calm down.
Hold on. Let's see. I just watched for the first time. I waited a long time to see this, but purchase, so might as well. I was like, let me actually watch those Jurassic World movies. That's what I watched recently. I
Oh, I'm
watched
so
all.
The Chris
sorry.
Pratt
I watched
ones.
all. Yeah, I watched all 3 of them. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch these, and I'm gonna see what I think. Um,
What did we learn? Thank
hold
God you
on, hold
purchased
on.
them.
Let me. Yes. Let me say something. I watched them,
Uh-huh.
and the first thing I did was I was like, let me go into this, and I am going to pretend Jurassic Park never happened.
That's what.
Even
Yep.
and
Mhm.
I was like, I feel like that's going to be the only way I'm going to enjoy these at all.
Okay.
You were wrong.
And going in with that, going in with that mindset, I would say that watching the first one, second one, the third one, I would give them an overall rating. And I don't really like doing numbers, but I because I can't say if purchase or rent or anything because I purchased them, so I'm biased.
Absolutely.
But I give them a 7.
Wow, you're
I
out of
did
your
not hate
goddamn
them.
mind.
I did
You're-
not hate them.
Quite
You are a person with
quite
an
generous.
opinion.
I did not hate them.
First and foremost, fuck Chris Pratt. All right, next.
Yeah, Will and Chris Pratt have a long-standing feud.
He doesn't know
I
I
know.
exist and I
No.
beef with this man.
But
till
that's
I
fine.
die.
That's fine because I have celebrities I feel that way about too. So
Who you been beefing with that has no idea you
the
exist?
Wilson brothers, both Luke and Owen. Fuck those guys for
The Wilson? Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
that
them.
seems a little rude.
don't like them. Can't tell
Okay.
you why though.
Okay, so that's ignorant. I can tell you why. I hate
Steve
Chris Pratt. I can
Harvey,
give you a book.
don't like that guy.
Mr. Potato
Wow.
Head. Why you gonna disrespect
Wow.
Mr. Potato Head?
Wow.
It's hard to say. He had a radio show and he would say like a lot of like ignorant stuff on a radio show. So
Yeah.
it really soured me on him going forward. But like stuff has come out about him after the fact about him just being kind of just a general jerk
Oh yeah. Okay.
in general. So like I don't really like Steve Harvey. And Anthony Mackie. I don't know what the disconnect is, but I find him so annoying.
I know the answer. I know why.
And also Tyrese Gibson. Can't fucking
Now,
stand that guy.
Tyrese.
Well, Tyrese can't act, so
He can't do
Tyrese
a lot
is-
of things.
he did Baby
Apparently,
Boy. and that
Tyrese
was
is
that.
also actually an a-hole, so that's fair. That's even
Oh,
better.
yeah.
It makes sense.
Everybody
See, that's
on-
the thing. It's a feeling, right? Like I don't have concrete evidence to be like, but it's like there's some people's like, I don't like.
I've heard
this person.
stories about Tyrese Gibson just being
Also,
The
Jennifer
Wilson-
Aniston.
The
I have a
Wilson
lot. I have a
brothers
lot of
throw me
these.
off. Why the Wilson brothers? Also, I know why you don't like Anthony Mackie because that guy's a gangster, but his real name was Clarence.
Yeah. He's never gonna outlive that. Like that's gonna follow him the entirety of his life.
It is. It is.
Okay, well, interesting. I'm now gonna try to make a list of people that I dislike for reasons I don't know.
Yeah,
and
that you
then-
can't understand. It's just a gut feeling.
Nah, I don't know, dog. I gotta go to therapy, figure that out, because that sounds like some projection bullshit. I don't want to do it.
It might be. It could also be intuition. So there's that.
It could be. It could 100% be intuition.
Because I always hated R. Kelly, and we all know how that went.
that didn't take much effort, though. We knew.
No,
from the
like
get-go.
back when he was I think I can fly R. Kelly, and like he could
Boy,
do no
I'm-
wrong. I'm
I'm
like
thinking
I
about-
don't like R. Kelly, and I
My
couldn't put my
mind is
finger on
telling
why.
me no, and I still didn't like R. Kelly. You know what I mean? The only exception to the rule is because when I was a kid, we would literally dance to like "Step in the Name of Love" and shit.
Yeah,
like
like I remember having a recital in elementary school where they made us sing. Like I think it was for a graduation and stuff. They made us sing "I Think I Can Fly" because like it's R. Kelly. He's like the biggest R&B star in the world.
Wouldn't pee on
I'm like
anybody,
I
that'd be
don't
weird.
want to sing this man's song because I don't like him, but I don't know why. Later, it all
It's,
made sense.
It's I believe I can fly, Casey.
that. Yeah, I was about to go. I can't.
Well, you know what? I don't give a shit what
a
it's called. Fuck R. Kelly. How about that?
Fuck R. Kelly. Fuck Chris Pratt. Fuck knowing the name of the songs.
How's about that? But yeah, that's my list. I'm sorry, I cut off whatever we were
We
talking
keep cutting
about.
off Ash. Every time you put me and Ash in the same thing, I talk too goddamn much, and I.
That's why this
hate
is what I
it.
needed.
I'm so
There's
sorry.
no news this week. This is 100% what I needed.
What do you mean? There's gonna be news this Monday.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
that
that's
was
right.
supposed to be our final topic. But like, I want Will to be able to get his chance to.
Oh, okay. Well, the mistakes.
Go
were
ahead,
made.
Will. Go, Will. Go.
I watched Ted Lasso.
Okay.
I firmly stand that with each season it gets worse. I mean that with no offense.
That's
I
sad.
loved all this. It's not worse. It just doesn't. It hit its plateau and it just didn't get better. It tries to, but like towards the end, at least this season, it felt like a lot of things were just like rushed.
Uh,
Because they had a lot of ties to a lot of loose ends to tie. But it was great. I'm thoroughly invested in potentially getting an AFC Richmond shirt just because I'm obsessed with this show. Trying to think of what else. I watched John Wick 4, which was just
hold
John
on,
Wick 3.
before you jump
Mhm.
to John Wick, have you watched anything else on Apple Plus that you like gotten really into, or is it just Ted Lasso?
Well, I obviously told you about Mythic Quest. Mythic Quest was a great
Yeah,
option
yeah,
that was
yeah.
there. Shrinking with Jason Segel and God Harrison Ford's pretty good.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of some of the other Apple TV shows, but
Because
I'm not
not
going to
because
pretend to know off the
because
top
you
of my head.
mentioned that Ted Lasso has seemed to progressively get worse with each season. I'm starting to feel like that's a theme with Apple Plus series. Because like Mythic Quest is another one. C with Jason Momoa is another one where it's like it starts off pretty good and then like subsequent seasons seem to just kind of lack.
Right. Well, here's the thing. At least with me, from my perspective, Ted Lasso hits at such a like genuine like feel good moment that like through the first season it's very unexpected. Like even with someone telling you, it ends up warming your heart in quite a bit of a way.
Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like the second season tries to do that. And there are moments where that happens. It doesn't feel the same. And the same thing with the third.
You're like
There
building up
is
like a callus to the joy.
yeah, it's weird. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there was a lot of stuff that was going on when I was like, maybe this could have been like not like. There's a part in the third season where they introduce a character that ends up leaving halfway through the season or a little less than halfway,
Mm-hmm.
and I get the purpose of the character, but it very similar to like you've mentioned with like the prologue with Spider-Verse. This could have been like a separate thing because
Sure.
it just feels wrong. I will admit there is a character arc for one of the characters that was just a complete douchebag, and you really see him change.
Is
That was
it
probably the most satisfying.
you talk about Nate?
No, fuck
No,
Nate though.
okay.
You'll see if you watch the third season.
All right.
But yeah, Shrinking's great. I've only watched bits of the first season, but I like what I've seen so far. Severance was a fantastic
Yeah, Severance is
fucking
great.
show. But I can't say much outside of that. And I know people like the morning show, but you just said you hate Jennifer Aniston, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think she has any talent.
I mean, she is the Chris Pratt to me, so it makes sense. That's perfectly fine. Well, to you, pretty much. So that's fine. Yeah, no, it's funny because Apple TV has like this weird thing where it's like, in theory, I would probably want to enjoy all of what they offer, but it just gets dull pretty fast for me. I don't know if that's just me.
I don't think it's just you because a lot of other people were saying the same thing about Ted Lasso, is that it kind of waned on them. And like you mentioned, that made me feel like, yeah, like the shows that Apple TV has had that have had multiple seasons, they do seem to like fall off after time. And that makes me worried because Foundation, which is an Apple TV series, is fantastic. Like that is a dope ass show.
Okay.
And that I've seen the trailer. That's supposed to be coming back. And I hope it maintains that quality because like if it goes the route as all these other shows, and I'm be real upset because
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's this is why it's hard for me to kind of make a decision because, like, when I look at it from the long scan of things, like, I hate to say it, but a lot of Netflix originals have that same effect to me as well. And there's some exceptions to the rule. Like, I do agree for some reason one of the Stranger Things, like I think season 2 or 3 was like better than the latest one for me. And I'm looking at like Netflix. I don't use Netflix as often as I probably should, but like I just remember initially watching some of their original shows. Like I don't want to say the same thing for Beef because I haven't watched Full Blown Beef, but everyone loved Beef.
I really like
It
it.
didn't. I think it's just I'm not the demo for it, which is okay. It's not a problem. I was stupid and was one of those people who watched like Fuller House when it became a thing because I love sitcoms.
I would have
Yeah.
watched that out of morbid curiosity, but I never got around to it.
I mean, you don't need to. You're perfectly fine dodging that bullet. But there's exceptions to the rules. Like I think you should leave with Tim Robinson. Like
Yeah, I need to get up on that. I keep seeing clips on Twitter, and like I really need to just sit there and binge that whole thing.
it's not everyone's comedy. Sometimes I look at it and I'm cringing, but I get that's part of the experience. But yeah, it's those are like I think those are the main things. I think when we avoid like long-winded series or things that are supposed to be serious, like that's where the kind of quality falls off, which is so sad to say. But it might again, I don't know. Maybe other people have different opinions. I've also been known to have a hot take or two, so it's not exactly shocking.
That is true.
Yes.
Hot take Will, we call him.
That's definitely what they call me in the streets. Yep. Uh, anyway, back to John Wick. John Wick, I watched the fourth chapter 4.
Yes.
Which is just John Wick 3 DLC. Best way to describe it, because the exact same shit feels like it just occurred, and I'm like, all right, cool. That's not even much of a spoiler. Like, John,
is
you
that
know
like
what
a
happened.
bad thing? Is that a good thing?
It's not a bad thing, but like, for example, like I gush over the cinematography. As someone who went to film school, I fucking love it. It's bananas how they are able to utilize and articulate some shots in such a beautifully way, and in such a beautiful way, and using lighting on top of that to really illustrate it. I'm a sucker when you can get both moods and kind of interweave it without it feeling forced. That is a very big thing for me. So like everything was great, but it's also as long as John Wick, and I feel like I fall asleep multiple times while watching it. Because again, and it's no offense to the film, it's just John says all of 300, maybe 400 words throughout the film. So
I mean, that's his like the guy who walks in a room and kills literally everyone in it isn't gonna be super chatty though, right? Like
Right,
that would
but
feel out of place.
I'm not
He's
mad
not
at
Duke
it.
Nukem. He's a fucking assassin.
Well, it's hard when you have 30-minute fucking fight scenes and you're there like, yo, a whole episode of something could have just passed right now.
I think they know where the strength lies, and it's not in elaborate storytelling, right? Like it's in mood setting
100%.
and in just super dope action set pieces.
Listen, no negative things towards 4. I'm just saying I feel like when you jump from John Wick 1 to 2, it's 1 feels like someone actually sat down and crafted a like good like origin story. Then 2nd gets a little wilder. Then 3 just fucking goes nuts.
Yeah, 3 does
and
go
then
nuts. Yeah.
4, I don't think it goes any like there's no huge leap that's there. However, it is very much in the same vein where it's like, okay, this feels like this was John Wick 3, and I don't have a complaint for that. I guess I expected that jump, and that wasn't quite there.
Yeah, Honey Money chimes in and says it's 2 hours and 41 minutes, which is quite long.
Yeah. I'm a 90-minute hoe. I can't do anything beyond that. It's crazy. Why are you laughing? Serious.
Please don't take that out of context, anybody, please.
Everyone take it out of context. Oh my god. I'm trying to think of what else that I've done. Obviously, we touched on Spider-Man, so I won't be bothering further into that. I feel like a lot of my time probably has just been boiled into games then at that point. I did watch Air, so that was a movie too.
I'm sorry, you watched
Air, the one that's
right.
on
Yes.
the story from Nike. Which I say this with no offense, but if you're offended, then that's probably your youth problem. It was a white boy movie.
I can see that. No, I can see that.
It didn't bother me. I'm well aware of it. I felt like I was engaged throughout it all. The third act, there was probably some things that needed to be fixed, but like at the end of the day, it was a good movie. It's just I'm not the demo at all, and I'm well aware of that.
Like it's another biopic, which is about a brand versus like a human, right?
Right.
Like it's a real story, but it's about how the products you love got made, and like there are so many of those that have come out and are coming out. And what's weird is that a lot of them are really good.
Yes, it's very interesting.
So it's like, God damn it, do I hate capitalism? But also, do I love capitalism?
Listen, both things can be true.
God damn it.
My thing with this is more so the reason why I even gave it a shot is not even because of the premise, but rather at the fact that someone watched the Michael Jordan last whatever it's on Netflix, that documentary series, and then wrote a screenplay, but it wasn't like full blown like to the T, and it ended up getting pitched for wherever good old Ben Affleck and what's his name? It's not Pitt. The other one, Matt Damon, had their studio, whatever. So they picked it up and they tweaked it. And that concept script was then made full-fledged, had connections with Michael Jordan. So that's the reason why they like were able to put some certain, I guess finesse some parts of it. I don't really know all the details, but like after it was said and done, approved and got picked up, they credit the writer who just did the spec script as if he did it full blown and just gave it to him. And I'm like, that's a big W for somebody who just had enough passion and now is like a full-fledged writer.
Nice.
And no matter how the film does, it was picked up and got acknowledged. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a shot. I didn't watch it in theaters, sorry, but I gave it a shot. And then I just been playing stupid fucking games. Like, you guys ever heard of the game of the year, Lord of the Rings Gollum? Great.
You
It's a fantastic game.
you played that? I would love to
reviewed
hear
it.
your thought. Oh, right, you did review it.
Right.
Oh,
I
yes,
didn't have a
please.
choice.
Please let us know about the Rings Gollum.
First and foremost, I lost the game save, and I was like 8 hours in. The game usually, when you look up like actual things, people could have done it in 6, and I'm like, okay, I did not rent that same experience because I had a pre-build launch, so whatever. But man, I could not get that save again, and I had to go through it again.
Oh no.
The
So
jank.
I can't believe, like, more power to you. I would have been like, this is what happened. I played 8 hours and the save died.
I told Nick I was hoping he would be like, oh, well, he then told me email someone, and I was going to email them, and I was like, let me give it the college try, and then tweaked some files, like, when the registry. Probably shouldn't have, because it got it back. And then bada bing, had to play it again. I mean, I got it back towards the later end of it when I actually finished it, but I did that just because I was like, I don't want to screw with the integrity of the file and then like fuck myself over forward.
Yeah.
Again, so yeah, I don't know why I did that, dog. This is one of those times where the Escapist or Nick posted in the chat and it was like, yo, this is a game. Anybody want to play it? I didn't watch it this time. I was like, everyone's been telling me to watch Lord of the Rings. It's one of those series I've never read the books. I've never attempted.
Okay, so
look
you
into The
played
Hobbit.
Gollum without watching any Lord of the Rings.
I went in blind. Like, I knew bits and pieces.
Sure.
Right? And
Just
I
through
definitely
cultural
disclosed
osmosis.
that. Yeah, but like I did not know like every bit. And going into it, I thought that was going to be a problem. No, the game was just a problem. It's take all the boring. Take a janky Assassin's Creed 1, make it more janky, more ugly, and then lose the story where it just nothing adds up at that point. Like, it does, but it's also like, really, this is what we wrote? Like, an AI could have wrote better than this. Whatever. Go to it, and then that was the experience. Then plus, just fucking, I was on elements that were keeping me afloat. Like, I should have hit the ground immediately, and I was just floating on air, and I'm like, I'm gonna take that. I use the jank to help me. If someone can speed run with that jank, that'd be hilarious. But
Yo, I can't imagine the speedrunning is like, to speedrun, you kind of need levels of consistency and reproducibility. Like, it sounds like this game is so kind of borked that like different things are bound to happen going through the same levels over and over again.
I mean, it might have been like that. I don't know what the day one patch has done to anything. And I don't know why they're making another one. But
They're making another
here
what?
we are.
Lord of the Rings Gollum?
Oh, yes. That
What?
wasn't done. Yeah, shortly after it, with the news dropped or when the reviews were coming out, they're saying that it's, hold on, I'll send you the link somewhere. It's actually on Teams. We were talking about it at work. And I was like, Doug, why?
How, first of all, like you said, you're not familiar with the Lord of the Rings or whatnot. But when I tell you, nobody asked for a game starring Gollum.
Right.
Like, I need you to understand. Like,
I was on board, dude. I was like, okay, they're making something out of nothing. It's gonna be a shit show. Because I'm like, what is he gonna do to defend himself? But it also doesn't make sense because there's times where you have to kill people and you just strangle them. And it's like, what? What? This is your own. If you could have been strangling hoes left and right, why am I still here? Like, I should have been out of this jail years ago. This don't make no sense. And then that's the big thing too. You spend more than half of the game in jail. What?
I mean, it is Gollum. Like,
Yeah,
I
okay,
can't,
but
I can't think of a better place for him.
let me explain something to you. When you have to objectively think about a review and go through where you need to get the steps of like diversifying shots, it is extremely difficult to do so when they all look the
when
same.
half the game is just the same location.
And then Some of the reviewers, full blown, just got towards the later end of the game, and I'm like, nah, that's first and foremost. I got 50 gigabytes of footage. I don't need extra footage. And then you want me to do that? No, 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 no. It was just bad all around. It's one of those things where, and my boss has said it too. He said they spent so much money acquiring the IP
Right.
that that was where majority of the resources. And before he told me that after he saw the review, and I was like, good. I'm glad I said something that actually tracks with someone. Because sometimes I'll drop a review and be like, oh, you didn't watch the movies, you didn't read the books. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that, dude. The consistency of the game is what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So I expected some backlash, but man, when I finally got to it and I was finishing submitting it, it was the day that the reviews came out, and then after I submit and I check all the reviews, I'm like, the only one? I have a brain? That's good to know.
No, it is very vindicating to see like you're in line with like almost everyone. But every now and then it's gonna happen. You're gonna be like a big outlier.
Right. I mean, didn't that happen with you and good old Mega Man?
Yeah. Yeah. But like I saw the writing on the wall for that because I was never good. I did not know that Battle Network was a JRPG series. I never engaged with it at that level. Right. So
Right.
it was, if I had known it was a JRPG, I never would have took it in the first place. Because in general, I don't really like JRPGs.
Man, boggles my mind every time he says it.
So like I did the review and I told my opinion. Like, yeah, the gameplay is kind of ass. But I also said in the review, if you like, this is a re-release. It's a package. I'm gonna review this as, you know, a collection and not really just the individual games because there's 6 games in there. I'm not playing all 6 friggin' JRPGs. I'm not doing that. I said that in the
He
review.
calls himself a reviewer. This guy.
It's a collection. I played a couple of
I
every
know.
single game, and I said like, hey, these are the extras that you get for them all being collected together, and I don't think it's that great. The gameplay is the same, right? Like personally, I don't like it, but if you do like it, it's still the same across all 6 games. So like, either you love that because you're playing the same game 6 times, or you're like, I don't want to play this same game 6 times, and you have a problem with that. So all I did was point out the obvious, and folks got mad.
Yeah, well, when you attack something like that, I don't know why I watched this. Somebody was just like, I think they said it in the open party, like, and Will said this. I'm like, I never opened my mouth about Mega Man. I haven't played Mega Man since I was a kid on a GBA. What are we talking about? Like, nah. So, I get where that sort of feeling comes from. I feel like anytime I review something and I'm overtly negative, and I tried. Some people on The Escapist were like, the comments was like, how is he so fucking positive in terms of tone? And actually, like, I tried to restructure it so it doesn't sound like I'm just fucking egging on it, right? Because like, I don't want the devs to feel like I'm attacking them.
Yeah, because it's never against the devs. It's about like, look, like we're trying to just give honest feedback, honest opinions on like our feelings and thoughts during this game. And if the game like is like rough,
Gollum.
if it's rough, then like you gotta say that because other people want to hear that. Other people want to know that that's what it's like to play that game.
Oh yeah, 100%. It is. It is what it is. I've learned that not to really pay too much. It's gonna be, people will be upset whether you say something that's true or false either way. So it's like whatever. The only thing I could possibly think of before we go, because I've been chatting a lot about just in general. Oh God, what is this game? I don't know if I can say it. I'm trying to remember. I've been dabbling with work stuff. It's already obvious. He pulled up a video to make sure I'm stupid, which I agree. Did it say that I was stupid? No. What you call? It wasn't. It was tweeted, so I can't be mad. But if you guys are happening to focusing on, and this we could probably use this as a transition after, on going or watching anything about these summer releases, whether it be the Xbox Showcase or specifically Monday, the Ubisoft Forward event, they are talking about a game that they have been developing called Assassin's Creed Nexus. It is on their most recent twist, so I can say it. I've don't know what I can say about what I've touched. I just know I've played it, and I know it like the back of my hand now. I'm upset that I couldn't get it on the Meta Quest 3 because of the fact being is that I know someone who already within the office who has the Meta Quest 3, and I wanted said thing because obviously the problem that's annoying with it is because of the fact that when my Quest is somewhere charging, but for some reason, at least when my Quest or what I'm experiencing is that you can only have one like main account, and that's
Okay.
so like I had to personally reset my personal Quest with had a bunch of games and DLC, and I can't add my account right now. It says I should be fine, but I keep running into error messages. So I'm not paying attention to you, Ash. But what you call? I played a lot of it, and I'm very excited. I've also obviously have touched Mirage, which is very interesting within itself. But I will say this, I'm impressed whenever I find out new details. Immediately, someone like 10 minutes on the internet. It's not even me because I can't write fast. You can check my track records and everything. It feels like immediately as soon as I read it, it's on Twitter or someone's already wrote an article about it, and I'm like, y'all motherfuckers is finding it just as fast as I am. I don't really know how to.
That's
I
kind of
don't know what the
sketch.
source is.
Like the investigators are gonna be banging on your doors, my guess.
They can. They look. They got my team chats and everything, and I'm not the person that's tweeting it. I don't even have. Guys, sometimes I write tweets and I really like give up on grammar. So like, imagine me trying to do that elsewhere. No, but no. We're gonna find out more details about it on Monday. So if you're tuning in, if you're into VR, cool. But yeah, no. And Mirage, I just want to play it on my PlayStation. I think I just want to unlock the trophies and see how it is, because that's where I'm just like, okay, all right. I don't know why I have all my Assassin's Creed on PlayStation now. So
if it's tradition, keep to it.
It was never like that. It was initially on Xbox, but I don't know. Life has happened. Anyway, point being is that I'm very, very excited for what's gonna happen for both titles. And if you're into VR, I don't know what the price tag looks like. That is a fucking big question.
For the Quest 3?
But not for the Quest 3. For Assassin's Creed Nexus. And if you're using a VR,
gotcha. Okay.
like, I don't know what the price is going to look like, so I can't justify or say anything. I'm biased on top of that. But this is something like when they announced they were doing Resident Evil 4 as a VR title, I immediately did not even think about the price and just bought it. It was one of those things. And even if I wasn't working at UB, it would be the exact same thing. And now that I've played it, I'm just like, dog, I can't wait to see how people, like, I want compilations of things that people can do. And that's going to be hilarious.
I can't wait to see it. I've seen nothing on this. Like, we'll get access to a lot of different franchises, whatever. I'm just a Siege guy. So
you Siege, man.
Yeah, I don't have.
Yo, let me get some credits. I'm just playing.
I wish I could give you some credits. I don't have access to give you credits.
I know a guy. But anyway, yeah. So to help transition further, that's weird. Did you know that Ubisoft is doing an event that's Monday but Xbox is doing a showcase? What is all these things that are happening this summer, Casey? I don't know what's going on.
Do you remember a little thing, way back in the day, called E3?
Oh wow, that's when the dinosaurs roamed.
Like in Jurassic World?
Yes.
I hate everything. I hate how in unison this works.
Essentially, E3 is kind of just not a thing anymore. They had to cancel once again, but that's not going to stop any of these companies from trying to sell us on what they have coming up in the summer months. Therefore, this newish thing called Summer Game Fest, hosted by Jeff Keighley, has arrived. But Jeff Keighley only has like a couple of publishers and like motifs highlighted. Like I think Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest is only like PC stuff. There's the Devolver Digital Showcase, and vaguely I think the Xbox stuff is like tangentially related, or like the Xbox stuff comes like right after all the Summer Game stuff. They got cozy games, like games for future impact. I don't know, a bunch of different categories that collect like a bunch of different things. So it's really hard to tell what's going to be there. Like it could be lots of cool indie stuff. It could be lots of big AAA releases. Like Jeff Keighley has a lot of connections, and folks like to like throw stuff on his showcases because he pulls in numbers. But outside of that, like Will mentioned, like Ubisoft, big publishers, are doing their own individual showcases. PlayStation did one before all this. There's rumors they might do another one in this window. Nintendo generally does one either just before or just after all this stuff as well. So like there's a lot of news on the precipice, right? Like we're in those summer months where E3 is usually taking place. It's spread out a little further now because they're not forced into just that single week that used to be E3. So we could hear new stuff about stuff we've known about, brand new stuff that we've never known about. And I'm just curious from you guys if there's anything you're expecting to see, like to get updates on, or anything that you really want to see from some of these companies within this upcoming summer game news fest. That's the question on the table.
Yes, there are things I want to see.
Like,
starting with Assassin's Creed stuff, I would like. But no, I do actually. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan, so I'm excited to see stuff. But I actually was really hoping that they would mention something at all, because that was what they showed very little about with everything. And I know most people were like, "Oh yeah, we want what was it, Red, for the finally Japan-based one." That was what everybody was like.
That's a little
super hype for.
I think.
Don't get me wrong. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. They're finally doing it. Awesome. But when they showed the very short snippet for Assassin's Creed Hexa, or Witch, because that's just witch in German, and it clearly had like Salem witch trial looking stuff going on with the aesthetic. So I was like, definitely witch, because I took German. So as soon as they said, I was like, what? I got so intrigued just from the aesthetic that they had in that trailer, and the fact that it was called Witch. I was like, I just need to know what you're going for with this one. I just want to know what this is. I'm so intrigued by what they could do with it and the crazy ideas I've come up with that they could do with that. I'm just like, just give me more. So whatever that is, please.
Because Mirage seems to suggest that there may be a split going forward. Again, I don't
that's
know
what it
any
seemed like to
information.
me.
It's speculation from me. It seems to suggest there may be a split going forward where they have the big open world stuff and then they have the more single player focused linear type thing, right? Do you feel like Hexa is leaning towards the open world or more of the linear?
I want it to be neither. I want it to be a completely different thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want it to be something completely different, but I don't think they'll do that because Ubisoft usually doesn't do that. And I mean that in the most respectful way. It's like Nintendo. You're like, oh, maybe they'll go crazy and do all these cool things with this IP. And you're like, no, they usually don't. And then when they do, I get excited. And it's like you said, Casey, it's something that should have been there a long time ago. I'm only excited because they're finally doing it.
They finally got to it, right?
But they usually don't do it. So I don't expect to do it. But if I was going to guess, right, we got Mirage, which is supposed to be more like quote unquote traditional AC. It's not the full big on RPG thing. I don't know about the world size or anything. I don't know if they're still going to shrink the world size down from what they've been doing with like Valhalla and stuff.
They would,
but
I would imagine they'd have to, especially if they intend it to not be a big old JRPG mess.
Listen, all I know is Ubisoft got real good with the here's a big map, here's the towers to unlock the map, and they've loved that formula for a very long time now. It's hard for me to see them not doing it into that scale anymore, but it's not impossible. Not impossible. I just remember that they said Valhalla won't be as big as Odyssey, and I was like, this crap is huge. I don't understand. I don't understand. What are you talking about? But
that just tells you how big Odyssey was, I guess.
I'm wondering. I was thinking of it just, like you said, kind of bouncing between, almost like, even though it's not the same aspect, how like Call of Duty, they switch between Activision or Treyarch to try to make it so the last game doesn't feel exactly like the previous one or whatever when they bounce in between the releases. My son is yelling. Beautiful. I love it. So I was like, okay, yeah, if they just do a bounce between here's a more quote unquote traditional Assassin's Creed versus the more modern titles and just kind of go back for that, I would actually appreciate that a lot. Because I don't mind the newer titles. I think they're okay. My preference is to the traditional ones. But I've been here for too long. I gotta see where the story goes at this point. So I'm gonna play them. Yeah, I'm too invested at this point. I'm gonna play it. But I do appreciate if I can still get that in while people who do prefer the other style can still get that game. And like I said, I like them. They're too big. Usually what happens is like I did Origins. I play 80% of that through. And then I was like, man, I don't have time for this. I'm using cheats because I'm not grinding. And then I just went through the rest of the game because I'm like, I need to know how this ends. And then by the time I got to Odyssey, I got 50% of the way through Odyssey, and I was like, man, those cheats really helped me out last time. Boom, use those. And it's not anything crazy. It's like I just like 1.5 for the EXP multiplier, or like, you know, like just give me a boost because I'm not.
Why not?
Yeah, it is a single player game, and you know, Ubisoft wants you to pay to basically get that type of boost, and I'm not paying. So I use a cheat, and I just get that boost that I would have had to pay for Ubisoft, and I make it so the grind's a little easier, right? And I just get through it. So I did that for all three of those.
For cheating in online games.
Yeah, no. Online games, no. Yeah, I would never do that.
Single player.
And I don't have time. So I'm like, I want to play your game. I paid you the money. I'm just... My experience needs to be a little fast forwarded, and it sucks, but that's the way it is. So fast forward a little bit.
I think that's fair
because I'm like, I do it. And like I said, I don't like increase my damage or stuff because I want to actually do the game. It's just like if I need to get some more levels before I get somewhere, I'm like, okay, bloop, just get me there real quick. All right, cool. Now I'm just gonna actually fight this boss or whatever. So yeah, but I've been wanting to play a more traditional one. I do wish they had. If they haven't mentioned it by now, I would doubt it'd be a Mirage. But I was hoping to eventually get some more Assassin's Creed multiplayer. I thoroughly enjoyed the multiplayer games, so I was hoping that maybe Hexa could be some sort of multiplayer thing.
I think the Nexus stuff has some
the VR stuff. Has some multiplayer stuff in it.
I can't say anything.
Dang it! I was just like staring at Will's face.
It's so funny because I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know everything. I know bits and pieces. Like. Even when I misspoke and said I played Mirage, like it's more so like I've observed it from another desktop. I still don't have access from it full blown, but I know for a fact I want to go through it. But yeah, no, I know bits and pieces. I have answers. I like my job.
Yeah, no, like we won't push, but
I'm
just posing the question because I'm also curious about those things.
Just know I want to push really bad.
You gotta just watch the Ubisoft.
Yeah, watch the direct, not direct, forward. Watch the forward.
If you want to laugh your ass off, I actually have a segment right before. It's literally the last video before it goes live. At least that's what I saw in the lineup. Okay, that's supposed to be there. So there might it's nothing crazy. It's just community stuff. But
doesn't matter. I'll be there for support.
I won't.
That.
But I'm looking forward for that. And then the other big thing I want to see is Fable. Just show me some Fable.
They've been teasing that. I don't know. Those teasers have done nothing for me. I feel like
they've done nothing for me other than this Fable. So no, I completely agree.
Like, I don't help me Fable 2. I never played 1.
I know it's okay.
3 was bad. Like I played 3 and it was bad. So I'm kind of like whatever on Fable as a franchise. But like the tone of everything they've teased makes me like has put me off. I'm like I don't want this sort of goofy fantasy, like this tongue in cheek, like oh we're fantasy but we're not taking it super serious or whatever. Like, 1, I'm sick of fantasy. Like, stop giving me fantasy settings. And 2, irreverent humor in a fantasy setting means nothing to me because I don't like the setting. So, like, I don't know. Fable's really going to have to, like, kind of do something special to, like, perk my ears back up. But, like that's not going to excite me at all. I want a lot from Xbox for this press conference. I want to see freaking Hellblade 2. Like, show me what the hell that game is. Finally, please. That's what I want to see.
Hellblade 1 is.
Well, no, Hellblade 1 was a very
I'm lying. Totally see it. I know what you're talking about. I expected some JRPG bullshit, and here we got with something actual. Never mind. You're good.
Yeah, so I just want to see what they're doing with it because the last time they showed it, like it looked like a real quick time event-y type thing. Like it wasn't showing gameplay, it was just showing off what the game looks like, and it looks beautiful. But like I want to play a video game. Like I hope they don't turn it into another Sony style third-person cinematic thing, like where like the gameplay is very streamlined and like samey, and like the whole draw is just the cinematics and the storytelling. Like, because I want to play a video game. Like Xbox has been my place to get like actual mechanics heavy video games. And
I was gonna say, it's Ninja Theory, right?
Yeah, Ninja Theory.
I kind of want the opposite, because then if we can actually get something that's can fucking be like a system seller, and something that we could, I'm not gonna say it's gonna rival God of War or anything that's on the Sony side.
I think that's exactly what they want this to do. Though.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy because it could be either this becomes the beginning of something new, or an idea will then they'll take the core concept that's there and improve the with another asset. So I'm like, I'm not mad either way.
Like, I mean, they can do both. I feel like, right? Like, put your cinematic story in it, make it linear. Like, it doesn't have to be a big open world, whatever. But just make sure that the mechanics are something to be proud of. Like, God of War, in my mind, on Sony's side, is the outlier in that its mechanics are actually also very good and entertaining. And then it tells a cinematic story. Like, all the other ones, like Horizon Zero Dawn, Uncharted, not Spider-Man. Spider-Man has interesting mechanics just because of the nature of that character. But, like, the gameplay just feels very derivative in those other games. Like Ghost of Tsushima is a good one. Like, it feels very derivative what they do in that game. And the draw is actually just the visuals and the cinematic story that they tell you, and not necessarily the video game.
Oh, no, I love me Ghost of Tsushima. I can't tell you otherwise.
I feel like the gameplay was kind of boring in that.
I was getting wrecked, so maybe I was not. Maybe we had vastly different experience because I was underskilled.
Tariel asking, is Hellblade big enough to rise to rival God of War? It's not right now. But the thing is, Xbox can put it on that platform. Like, if its showing is good enough, it could sit there and be positioned as, hey, if you really like God of War on Sony's side, this is something of similar quality on Xbox's side. And all they have to do is make that game actually deliver in terms of, like, functionality, quality, experience. And it will sit there as like, oh, Sony has God of War, Microsoft has Hellblade. Like, they can do that, but they have to make that game good. It cannot be this sort of disappointing failure like all their other first-party things have been so far.
That's also why I'm not really excited when these showcases occur. In fact, I was barely excited when the PlayStation one happened recently. I mean, was just like, all right.
It was okay. It was a good showcase, but, like, folks complained it didn't, like, show what Sony had cooking. Like, it wasn't big on Sony first-party stuff. It was mostly third-party stuff that Xbox even tweeted out after the fact. It was like, hey, look at all the stuff coming to Xbox from that Sony showcase.
Xbox be sly with the
Their social media is on point. I gotta.
Hey, listen. In comparison to the alternative where everything's just stuck on one platform, I'll take it. I don't care if it got to be sly with it. That's better than where it was at before. Tell you that much. But also, this is a very hard thing because when I looked at all of the stuff that's coming for whatever the Summerfest is, I don't think there's a lot. And sorry, Eves and everyone else, but, like, even us, like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot that's not known, I feel like.
Yeah, but also there's a lot that's just like, I have general interest in only the Devolver Digital thing because Devolver Digital's fucking great. Yeah, and anytime they do on the show, they don't care.
Yeah, their showcases are quite insane.
Dude, they have a fucking mascot. Delvey. Like, and then I don't know if you guys recently saw when they did the Cult of Lamb update for their community where it was just like, yeah, here's everything that's coming with this patch. And then it was legitimately in the style of the Pokemon rap.
I did not see that, no.
Oh my god. Let me see if I can find it.
That's blasphemous for me.
It's one of those things where I gotta give them props because if we were to attempt to do that on our side with any of our brands, we'd be laughed at in our face.
You were too big, right? Like, we're too big, and that hasn't been the tone of the brand overall up until this point. So, like, it would seem forced.
Yeah,
but, like, Devolver is like they have, like, cool kids energy, so, like, they can get away with that sort of thing.
Cool, you guys, this is when your age shows because who says that? I think
look,
its brand identity is vastly different.
I accept.
I'm not hip. I don't know what the kids are into.
I don't. I admit it. I'm there now.
That's okay.
Get off my lawn.
I finally did it. I have people who come to cut my grass every 2 weeks. Like, I signed up.
Wow, 1%. How does it feel?
Because I used to take several months to go out there and do it my damn self, and I would do a half-assed job because I don't have the time to go out there and cut my grass. So I finally was like, look, do this for me, please.
That's not a do that for me. That is, I'm paying you for your services,
yes,
Mr. 1%. Tell me, how does it feel, Scrooge McDuck?
It feels expensive is what it feels like. So I don't know why you're calling me 1%, but, like, it was a thing that needed to happen. Otherwise, I'd have got fined from the city because my grass is too fucking tall.
I should have never lived in Jersey.
I mean, at least we have grass here, Will.
I live in North
Dang.
Carolina, my good sir. There's grass everywhere. I have more.
Well,
I'll
yeah,
add grass
in
to
North
the
Carolina,
circle.
right? And why?
There's also you ever heard of a place called Central Park? A lot of green there.
Uh,
What do you? I'm
there's-
starting to think you can't.
There's
see
just
colors,
enough bushes in Central Park for people to hide in and rob you at knife point.
I don't know why you think Central Park is like the 90s, like and people are under bridges ready to stab you. But okay, you'll see.
Those are the good
people-
times.
Yeah, like we're worse off now, but that's just the day and age we live in. Also,
Real-
what the fuck is THQ gonna drop in their showcase? And this is in August. What? What do you?
Again, like THQ is a big question mark because they bought all sorts of like kind of double A middling franchises and have been
Right.
trying to revive them over time. So like we could get anything out of that because like they have like what was the last thing THQ even released? Was it that Darksiders 3 game?
Maybe I know they're doing like a AEW game, but that's all I know.
No, wait. What about Biomutant? They did Biomutant, right? Were they
Was
involved with
that? I don't know.
Biomutant?
I'm not sure if that was THQ, but Biomutant
The
was
last-
not well received.
Well,
that
I
game
was
was not
most recent.
It's the one
It's
that
the most
comes to
recent one I
mind.
think of.
The most recent THQ game was the SpongeBob Cosmic Shake.
Really?
Yep, that's the Frost did the review for that one.
Right. That did
I mean,
happen.
listen, they have an untitled South Park game, and I'm there for it because those bastards just learned how to make video games at Ubi and dipped, and I was like, damn, but I do love me them South Park games. They are so offensive in every bit. You ever played it where you create your character?
I've seen what I think you're
So
gonna.
you know what I'm
reference, though.
talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That within itself is wild. Fucking ridiculous. But yeah, no, I don't think I have anything realistically that's big that's coming out. I got my Spider-Man fill, and honestly, I feel like with Xbox, I've just been not paying attention, and then finding out like, oh look, we've acquired this, and I'm like, you guys own everything now. What the fuck? Why are you not dropping bangers though? So
Yeah, like that.
They
That's the
did
big
do
question.
Biomutant.
Why is it so hard for Xbox to get their shit together? Like they've been putting all the blocks in place to have like a big comeback story, and like they just keep tripping over their own shoes.
yeah, I don't know. Yo no sé.
But Capcom, who has been on
he was-
just a complete win streak for the last couple of years, I want to see what they have coming up next. I'm hoping like we get a new big console Monster Hunter announcement because I
That'd be
feel like
dope.
it's time. Like just let us know that that's cooking, and so I can get excited. It doesn't have to come out like anytime soon because I know they just dropped Rise finally on PlayStation, Xboxes earlier this year. But like, yeah, let us know what's coming, and then like 2 years from now, I'll take it. I'm fine with that.
Dog, all I want, and this is a very niche, it's not gonna happen, but give me a nice little Ace Attorney game. I'm overdue for that. I can rock with that.
Will, I forgive you for not liking Legend of Zelda. I forgive you.
I don't dislike it. I just haven't played
Okay, that I forgive you for that. It's okay. Either way, I forgive you.
it. Thanks.
You're a good man. You have good taste. Casey does not. Wait, no, Casey likes Zelda. Never mind, Casey's
I
still
love
fine.
Zelda.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
And Ace Attorney's
Had to
probably
remind
fine.
myself.
I just don't. I don't do the.
It's a visual
big Mario
novel
game. Yeah,
game
I don't
anyway.
do those too often.
Well, when you see the next review for The Escapist and you're into visual arts or visual things, that's something to keep a lookout for a review. I try
Yeah,
not to
that's
fumble my
Will's
words
bag, I
and
think.
screw it.
Did you
Oh,
guys
yeah, I
already
love
do
those.
But speaking of Nintendo, if we do get some news from them,
Who cares? I
What
got
do you guys
Zelda.
expect?
I got Zelda. Who cares? I don't
I'm not
expect
gonna
anything.
lie to you. I don't. I'm not the proper demographic for this. I play the same 5 games on the Switch, and none of them are, unfortunately. And I don't know if Rachel's still here, Bayonetta, or like, what am I gonna play? You know what? Actually, I'm lying. I'm about to go cop that stupid new 1-2 Switch game with a horse.
No
in front of the
way.
box. I'm just
Everybody
I was like,
you
why
want to
would you
Switch?
do that? Like Nintendo sounded like they didn't even want to announce that the way they
Hey.
they put out like a single tweet and no other marketing.
Yeah, no, they did nothing for that. I was like, oh, that's not a good look. That's not a good look
It
at
sounds
all.
like if my guess had to be is that they were probably initially thinking that maybe we'll do like with a new console release or updated release of some sort that they would like package it, because I remember 1-2 Switch not being a terrible game, but it was a launch thing.
It was a
and that's
launch game,
why-
It's
and
a tech
I remember
demo
people
game.
railed on
Yeah.
it. Like folks were like,
Yeah,
this not
What's
it.
it? It's a
Well,
tech demo game.
My logic was that they thought that it was going to be good prior, and then they had already, I guess, from internally, they were like, wow, this is going to be great. We're probably just going to see if we can fund it for a second one, and we'll drop it with a mid or new console release. And neither happened, and they just already had the game made.
Yep.
So,
Sounds right to me.
That sounds about right. Because that makes sense. As a tech demo, they probably were like, we need a Wii Sports for the Switch to like get people to understand what this thing is and to just sell 1 billion copies, and it just wasn't that.
Yep.
But the Switch took off on its own, like thanks to the lockdown, Animal Crossing, other quality titles. Like the Switch is great, so like it made sense for them to just keep selling the Switch as opposed to just make a new one. But the question is like, Zelda is out. Tears of the Kingdom is out. They don't have anything other than like maybe Pikmin 4 as like a big release in their schedule.
Who cares?
Yeah, like
listen, even if they drop something that's great, even if they do like, hey, we got a Mario Kart 9 or 10, whatever number we're at now, baked in, it's ready. You already have that audience built in. So for me, the hype is just, it exists, but it's not like something I'm going to be like stressing. I will get the game when I want to play a different Mario game. That's that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't think. Also, when's the last time Odyssey was the last drop that they did?
Yeah.
Well, Bowser's Fury is
that don't
technically, I mean, it's kind of it was like a half and half, like a little experimental Mario sequel, right? But yeah, Odyssey is like the last big one, and they didn't make a sequel for that.
You know, if they randomly were like, here's Super Mario Galaxy 3 with basically the same engine as Odyssey, I think people might blow up for that. People really like the Galaxy games. I didn't play those. I know people. I know people. We're a minority. I didn't play it. You didn't like it. A lot of people love the Galaxy games. That's all I know.
Guys. You guys suck.
I didn't play it.
What the fuck are you guys playing on your Wii?
I am Zelda.
Like the Wii was
I'm a very
disappointment for me.
platformer guy.
Like the Wii was a massive disappointment. There was nothing fun on the Wii other than Wii Sports.
Let me just type in top selling Nintendo consoles.
Which Zelda? Like
Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess released on the GameCube, remember?
I played it on the Wii.
Yeah, I played it on the GameCube. So why would I get it on the damn
like
Wii?
Like a peasant. Like a filthy peasant.
Wow. That felt like a slur, even though it was nothing like it.
And Skyward Sword, but, you know, I didn't. Whatever.
Skyward Sword.
The
worst
The
Zelda game.
Wii, according to the Screen Rant, is the number, 101 million units.
Fluke.
It's not a fluke.
Absolute fluke. You want to know?
What do
you want to know
how many games you sold?
Because the Wii U was a bomb.
Okay, but the Wii.
Well, there was many reasons why the Wii U was a bomb.
The first one is that the Wii was a fluke.
Hold on. But
Wow.
the Wii U sold only 13.56 million in its lifetime.
Yeah, it was a
The
Wii. Bomb.
The Wii literally did close to 9 times as much as that.
Yes,
if not
because
more.
it was a fluke. The Wii was a novelty because of the motion controls and because of Wii Sports.
We got to
It sold
reword it.
gangbusters because of Wii Sports, not because of any first-party Nintendo game. Even though there were really good ones that came out, the regular fan base bought those games. They enjoyed it. They had fun. But the millions and millions of extra people who bought a Wii because of the hype around this motion control phenomenon never bought anything else. They bought the Wii. They had Wii Sports, and they were done. So they sold 100 million whatever copies of consoles of the Wii, but look at game sales. All the shovelware shit that came out, all these other titles, they did not sell anywhere close to what the install base was. It was a fluke.
It also doesn't help that they package Wii Sports within the consoles, so that doesn't really quite help your argument. But also, even if we're going down,
it does help the argument because the people who bought the consoles got what they wanted.
But that's
the way to look at it is look at the actual game sales. Did the games actually sell, or did just Wii's sell?
Mario Kart Wii,
Casey's
37 million.
Mario Kart
Wii Sports Resort, 33 million. New Super Mario's, 30 million. Then the Wii, those Wii bullshit.
Those are like, that's lifetime, right? You're reading? That's not like
these are copies sold that's just on Wiki, so it could be outdated. But
also look at the install base. What
I
percentage?
will
is that?
say Wii Sports Resort being second on that list kind of points towards KC because we're
third.
like, oh, we're
Third.
getting third. Okay, that still points to KC having some
All right,
fluke
but then the new
in
Super
there.
Mario Bros. On the Wii, I played that like a motherfucker, throwing people off because you had 4 people at the same
That game
time.
is infuriating.
That shit is wild. Now, it does help your argument when you look at Wii Play, Wii Fit, Wii Plus, because the grandmas definitely bought that. And they were like, hey, my kid needs something else to play on the Wii. And I'll admit, the numbers do go down significantly. But you have Brawl, Galaxy, Just Dance 3, Mario Party 8, Twilight Princess, Galaxy 2. I don't know why fucking Olympic Games is there. I know a lot of them utilize it. Don't get me wrong. And I don't think that it's something that we should say that, hey,
Brawl
it
is
was
like
in the same-
Spider-Man 3. Like if Brawl sold well,
I love Spider-Man 3, so don't talk to me like that.
if Brawl sold well, it's because Melee was fantastic, not because Brawl was fantastic.
Yeah, but now you're just going off of a whole different argument. I'm just hitting the numbers right now. I'm going off the facts.
I feel like the numbers tell the story.
I'm just
And,
going
and
off
the
the
Wii U
facts.
is the biggest
and there's some
indicator.
decent games.
Nintendo was like, the Wii is so big, the next console needs to piggyback on that. So they called it the Wii U. And what did
Yo,
all
just-
those
they
people who
fumbled the
don't
bag.
play
That's
video
okay.
games and bought a Wii did? They was like, why would I need a Wii U? I have that already.
Well, not only that, but there was nothing to play that was significant enough for you to be buying it. Realistically, there wasn't a console seller.
You could argue that
Hey, guys.
Breath of the Wild was a console seller, but again,
That was towards
released
the end
on
of
the
its
Wii.
life cycle.
It was towards the end of the life cycle. That released on the Wii, which I played it on the Wii. I'm sorry, not the Wii, the Wii U. I played it on
Wii U.
This man's just saying words. He said, "I the Wii U." Listen, I'm not
That was
disagreeing
part of the
in
problem.
anything.
That was part of the problem.
I'm not disagreeing full blown. I'm just saying, if we're looking at the numbers, there are quality games that are here, and I will also say that we shouldn't compare it to Xbox or PlayStation in that era because it's definitely not the same. That was when we took a risk, and then Nintendo took a risk with the Wii, and then everything because of the Wii, we had so much bullshit on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation market that was like, oh,
Yeah, they tried to follow
well, we
suit
could
with the motion controls
capitalize
too.
this.
Because,
Connected only
because the
exists for
console
Just
sold like
Dance.
crazy.
I'm not gonna
Connect-
lie,
Connect
it's not
only
Just
exists for
Dance,
Just Dance.
it's Dance Central, but you were right.
Yeah, Dance
you are
Central was-
1000% right.
It's for those.
Yeah.
It's
But
for
I'm not
those
gonna
guys.
lie to you. When I had the good old Connect and they integrated silly things like you could yell "hike" at the fucking.
Yo, I liked
Connect.
the voice command. I really
It
did.
was fire. Shit
Like
was
a
fire.
couple of games use it in really cool ways. Like Mass Effect 3, for example, you could yell commands to your squad,
Yeah.
and they would. It worked.
I will say, I also gave the funny time where streamers who had like text to speech for their streams, and people will like make the text to speech say commands out, turn their Xboxes off.
Oh,
That was hilarious to me. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, that's hilarious. If someone did that to me, like I'd be upset, but I'd also
But
be
it's
like,
pretty funny.
that was good. That was good. Okay, let's not do that all the time, but that was good. That was.
You wouldn't
That's
mess
an
around.
easy way, like to use the whole like channel points. Like if you had to spend to do the text to use that particular text to speech. So someone had to put a bunch of channel points and they'll do it like in a pivotal moment of the game, and you're like, no, I have to save for an hour. You know, content. It's content. It's good stuff.
But I will say
But,
we are running long here.
yeah.
Yeah.
We did
I was
very
gonna say,
far off
I
topic.
kinda-
So yeah, if we
I
have
kinda
like wrap
have
up
to head out.
statements.
Yeah, I just want to add two more things. I do want to see the new Skate. I
Yes. Yeah.
was/am in the alpha.
Oh, nice.
So I have played it for a few times. I'm waiting for the next one to open up again, so they can tell me to come back. They brought me back twice, so I'm hoping they keep bringing me back.
Yeah, you should still. That's usually how they do things. Like if you're in the early
Yeah,
ones, you're
usually.
on the list for the future ones.
And then this was for KC more so than anybody else, but he didn't because I don't think he said it. But I'm expecting that KC is hoping to hear about Perfect Dark because we haven't heard anything about it for 3 years.
I'm not confident that we'll see anything because we haven't heard about it because of how troubled the development is. Like they basically
Development is.
restarted development and then brought in Crystal Dynamics to help at the initiative because everyone left the initiative. Like all those super talented people over there was like, we can't work with the head guy because he is trying to do a top-down thing and we're used to like this collaborative thing. So all the really talented people left, and his old studio at Crystal Dynamics was like, all right, we'll contract these guys because they know how to work with this dickhead, and like we'll start over from the beginning. But it's like Crystal Dynamics isn't the type tier developer that I was hoping would get to make a freaking Perfect Dark game. So I have no idea what to expect. I don't think that they're ready to show anything, and I'd be very surprised if they were. So, I don't know. I'm not very sad
and then
about
my
that.
really last topic is if Nintendo drops something that would be big, I think it would have to be Metroid Prime 4. That'd be the only thing that I think
That's another
people
one
would
that they
maybe
have
get
to like
hyping up
restart
for.
from the beginning. So
Yeah, I know. That's the other thing too.
Yeah.
I was like, but that's the only thing other than Tears of the Kingdom coming out this year where I'd be like, what could Nintendo possibly say that would get me too hype? I haven't really played Metroid like that. I think they're cool. I just
New
never played
hardware
them like
would
that.
that get you hype?
New hardware could get me hype.
I
don't
feel like
think
that's
they'll
the
do it.
only thing that they could really say to like blow out, because like we don't want more games on the Switch. Like you're like Tears of the Kingdom's out, I'm done. I don't care about anything else.
Done.
Right?
I'm playing this until Mirage comes out on October 12th. I'm chilling, dude. I'm not doing anything else. I have nothing else I need to do.
What about you, Will? Any closing thoughts?
The Wii was great. I don't know if there's anything specifically outside of like maybe some one or two things. Like I obviously care how Yubi's what they're gonna show, because I don't know all the bits and pieces. And I do care to see Xbox and hopefully drop something. I don't know. I'm probably gonna find out through the aftermath and it be on Twitter, and I'm like, oh shit, that's crazy.
Sure. And
Like,
we'll talk about it next Sigma show once we get at least some of these conferences out of the way. I think some of them will be on the following week, but at least a couple of them are going to be this week.
Right. So I'll find out when it finds out. I mean, I'll find out when it drops. But yeah, I'm hoping that we get some sort of W's in that regard and not silly things like we're dropping a Meta Quest 3, and I'm like, the writing was on the wall, kid. This isn't new information.
All right. Nice. Well done. Well, thank you to both of my guests. This was a great show, great discussion that we filled with tons of discussion despite there being very little news. Thanks to everybody in chat. Ash, why don't you let folks know where they can find you and if you'll be streaming, when?
Wow, that hurt. Real quick, I want you guys to hear my children. This is them making extra noise at the stairs because I asked them to be quiet.
Oh, I thought this was a WWE match. I was excited.
No, they're running up and down. My daughter Luke comes downstairs, peeks around the corner, yells something, and then runs back up like,
I'm sorry about that.
That's
you
kids.
buttholes.
You give them one
You
instruction and they're like,
buttholes.
oh, you thought?
But if I stream, I will stream tonight.
I don't buy it.
I will stream tonight if I stream.
Challenge-
That's
challenge
the caveat.
Chat, start
no
placing
challenge.
bets.
No challenge.
Chat,
This
placing
is
bets.
not. But I remember when I got Tears of the Kingdom, my wife was like, "Wait, are you not streaming?" I'm like, "This is for me. I don't have time for these people. This is for me.
Wow.
I don't want to deal with a chat. I want to play this game. I don't want to talk
There
to
goes
other
your
people.
donos.
Play this game." Yep, there we go. There it goes. But no, I'm hoping that I will be able to get back stream. But like I said, I've been forcing time to play freaking Tears of the Kingdom at all. I guess if I can force that time when I have free time, I could at least stream it. You know what I mean? So trying to see if I can work that in there. It really just depends as long as the wife is available to watch the kids so they don't do what they were just doing for the last 10 minutes. Because I can't listen to that my whole stream. I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this. But yeah, that's me. Ash Redux everywhere.
Nice. Will, what about you? Where can folks find you? What do you have coming up that they can check out?
Twitter at Will C Blogs. If you're keeping up with The Escapist, I have a review that's going to be dropping. I don't know if it's going to be this week or next week. I believe the game drops this week, so maybe. But I do have a review that I'm very excited for. Definitely a cleanse of palate in comparison to playing Gollum. Jeez Louise. And yeah, if you're going to tune into any of the shows, the only thing I can say is if you pop into the pre-show and you see a little community thing where people are playing games, your good old boy produced that. It's low effort, but still.
Great job.
That's the only thing I'm more so looking forward to. Everything else, I'll find out what later, like a pleb I am, and be very happy or disappointed, or just going to reinstall Miles Morales on my PS5 until Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I think I might actually do the playthrough for Miles Morales because I am hard from watching the movie. I watched my son play it the first time, but I might do it myself this time.
Yeah.
As for me, you can find me here, SigmaGears9, on Twitch, as well as Twitter. Later today, Super Smash Sunday will return. Superman Jeff will probably be joining me. I've not asked him, but I'm assuming he'll be there.
Man, Diablo, you better tell him now.
2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We get started and we go for 3 hours straight. So come in, hang out. My Street Fighter 6 review just dropped over on Escapist, so you can check that out over there. And I believe we will be trying to do a weekly Street Fighter 6 stream within the open party, and also probably on the Escapist down the road. So I intend to play a lot of Street Fighter 6, so I'd be happy to do it on both sides, just so I can get the time in with that game, because like I really want to be a Street Fighter guy going forward. So like that's my plan. I think the Patreon folks over at Escapist have to vote for like what our next funding goal is. They just finished Nick's Dark Souls 2 playthrough funding, so like the next one is going to be a choice. And so I think the Street Fighter streams will be an option. So go in there if you're a Patreon user over at Escapist and vote for the Street Fighter one if you want that to be sooner rather than later. Outside of that, all the regular streams throughout the week should be back. Someone was asking, will the Escapist be doing the watch-alongs with the conferences? Yes, they will. So this Thursday, instead of the Half-Life stuff, because Marty and I finished that last week, we'll be doing the Summer Game Fest conference, and that will lead into the Xbox Bethesda showcase and the Starfield stuff. And then we'll probably have like a talk about that afterwards. And then we'll also be, there's a different conference later in the week. Or maybe I'm mixing up all the other conferences. Either way, we're doing watch-alongs for all the conferences. Frost will be taking my place for the Ubisoft one, because I can't sit there and, and be on the Ubisoft for it. So Frost will show up and do that one. But so check all that stuff out. It's coming up. It's going to be a fun week for game news. So we'll be back here next week to talk about all the stuff we learned. Thank you once again, Ash. Thank you, Will. Thanks, chat. We will see you all next time. This is in episode 106. Peace.
Bye.